Chapter 283. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? Saying net, providing you with wonderful novels to read. This was Night Sorrow's intuition. This kind of violent, baleful aura, as well as the empty pressure, was very strong after entering the void fiendish space. Love gone little say W, Chu in comparison from feeling the fire attribute energy to finding the fire attribute source stone, it was only a range of 10,000 miles. What did this mean? This meant that there might be source stones in places that emitted hollowness, violence and baleful aura. Moreover, they were of a much higher grade than fire and water attribute source stones. Resisting the pressure, Night Sorrow continued to control the tiger eagle to fly. As they moved forward, Night Sorrow saw many high-level demonic beasts, some of which were even stage 4. There were also some whose cultivation he could not see. Fortunately, these demonic beasts could not fly. Night Sorrow moved forward while observing the surrounding situation. The harsh environment did not make Night Sorrow nervous. Instead, it made him feel relieved. This way, others would not be able to get ahead of him and he would not lose the initiative. In this kind of exploration, the initiative was especially important. It was just like how he had obtained the fire and water attribute destiny stones. They were his. The people who went in later could only dig for the spirit stones he did not want. But at such a crucial time, who would dig for spirit stones? Looking at the tiger eagle under his feet and Xianhu flying beside him, Night Sorrow felt that his speed was definitely fast. Even if the others had flying demonic beasts, they would not be of a higher grade than Xianhu's or stronger than Xianhu's. Xianhu's flying was already very difficult, let alone the others' flying demonic beasts. It had to be known that many people did not have flying demonic beasts. Day after day passed. Night Sorrow sat on the tiger eagle and led Xianhu forward. Just yesterday the tiger eagle had advanced to stage 3, level 6. Its strength had increased, and its resistance to pressure was stronger than before. Night Sorrow's cultivation was also rapidly increasing. He was now using the spiritual origin liquid to cultivate. It was more effective than any pill. 1 drop of spiritual origin liquid was enough for him to absorb for 2 days without any side effects. Night Sorrow was unable to estimate the value of the 2 jars of origin spiritual liquid. In the Medicine Valley, only Heaven Stage disciples were qualified to use the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid, and they were only allowed to use 2 drops a year. However, Night Sorrow's spiritual liquid of origin was much more effective than the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid. Moreover, he didn't even need to count the drops. He had 2 full jars. Origin spiritual liquid was a rare treasure. Just taking out a small bottle was enough to shock many people. As he continued to cultivate, Night Sorrow's true chi cultivation was not far from the peak of the 8th level of the core condensation realm. His myriad Dao treasure tome had also reached the middle of the 5th level of the bone forging realm. His chest and abdomen had also strengthened by half. However, as they ventured deeper, the tiger eagle could no longer hold on. Night Sorrow did not even know how many tens of thousands of li he had advanced. The violent energy was tyrannical. However, the suppression of this kind of aura was still manageable. This kind of violent aura had an extremely strong sense of emptiness, which greatly weakened the resistance of Night Sorrow, Xianhu, and the tiger eagle. Seeing that the tiger eagle's flying speed was no longer there, Night Sorrow controlled the tiger eagle and Xianhu to land. He put them away and then began to walk. The feeling of landing on the ground was indeed different. Feeling that he had roots, Night Sorrow began to run. Right now, Night Sorrow felt as if he was climbing Danding Cliff. The pressure was comparable to the energy impact of Danding Cliff, which was about 4,000 meters high. This degree of pressure was not difficult for Night Sorrow. In order to seize the time, Night Sorrow increased his running speed. Night Sorrow shuttled through the forest and grassland. When he encountered a demonic beast, as long as it couldn't attack him, he would ignore it and advance at full speed. After running for a few hundred li, Night Sorrow saw an opponent whose cultivation level he couldn't see clearly. It was a lion with blood-colored fur. This blood-colored lion blocked Night Sorrow's path forward. Holding the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow sized up this lion. He knew that the demonic beasts in the void fiendish space had a much stronger fighting strength than the demonic beasts of the same level in the outside world. Their temperaments were extremely violent. In addition, they were also used to the environment here. They grew up here and had already adapted to the energy suppression here. While Night Sorrow was sizing up this blood-colored lion, the lion moved. Its 2 zhang-long body leaped up and rushed towards Night Sorrow at an incomparably fast speed. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and thrust it out. The blood-colored lion in the air didn't change its path and continued to pounce. At the same time, one of its front paws slapped towards the reincarnation spear. This time, Night Sorrow didn't use the vibration force. He directly used the wave force. He didn't want to shake off the blood-colored lion's sharp claws. He wanted to directly break the lion's claws. Gotcha. With a crisp sound, Night Sorrow's ferocious spear directly chopped off one of the blood-colored lion's front paws. He then executed the soaring dragon steps and dodged to the side. When Night Sorrow dodged, the blood-colored lion missed its target. After missing its target, the blood-colored lion only had 3 legs left to support its body. At this moment, the blood-colored lion's bloodthirsty temperament could be seen. It didn't care about its broken front paws and continued to pounce towards Night Sorrow. When the blood-colored lion had 4 legs, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid, let alone now that it only had 3 legs left. After a few rounds, Night Sorrow slit its throat with a single spear strike. Night Sorrow split open the blood-colored lion's head with a single spear strike and took out its demonic core. Demonic beasts were different from humans. A human's demonic core was in their dantian. However, most demonic beasts had their demonic cores in their heads. After putting away the demonic core, Night Sorrow released the tiger eagle and xianxia. Seeing the blood-colored lion's corpse, the tiger eagle rushed over. Its bloodthirsty nature liked this kind of prey. When the tiger eagle moved, xianxia also went over and began to eat the blood-colored lion's corpse. This made Night Sorrow, who was about to feed xianxia with the spirit spring liquid, stunned. In the past, xianxia wasn't like this. Night Sorrow then understood that this was the influence of the void fiendish space's aura. Night Sorrow didn't stop xianxia. After all, a demonic beast's body contained a very rich blood essence. Eating this wouldn't harm xianxia. When the tiger eagle and xianxia finished eating, Night Sorrow put them away and continued to move forward. While moving forward, Night Sorrow put the bone-corroding grass-poison stone bag on his waist and the sky-piercing spear on his back. Night Sorrow knew that as they moved forward, the situation would become more and more dangerous. Demonic beasts of all levels would appear. Once a demonic beast appeared that he couldn't kill, he would have to use some tricks. As they moved forward, fewer demonic beasts appeared. However, the demonic beasts that appeared had the same thing in common, and that was their strength. In such an area, ordinary demonic beasts couldn't exist. Just like the lava lake that Night Sorrow went to, the environment wasn't suitable for demonic beasts to live in. However, if there were any, it would be dangerous. It was definitely a heaven-defying demonic beast. First we send. After moving forward for another 6 days, Night Sorrow was a little worried. The strength of the energy suppression had increased a lot. It was about the same as Danding Cliff's 4600. If this pressure continued to increase, it would be hard to say if he could get close to the core area. Although he was worried, Night Sorrow still moved forward. If there was an opportunity, he had to fight for it. If he couldn't fight for it, it was one thing. If he fought for it, it was another thing. Chapter 284. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I'll provide you with a wonderful novel to read. Su Wang's face was gloomy. He looked at the magma pool and the empty pool of water origin spiritual liquid without saying a word. Love gon little's sake webka cousin, the spirit stones that were dug out might be top grade and upper grade spirit stones. What's left are middle grade spirit stones, Xuanhuan said angrily. Spirit stones are nothing. This is the middle of a huge magma lake. The fire attribute energy is very dense. An origin stone might have appeared, but we don't know who got it, Su Wang said coldly. Is that possible? Xuanhuan said in shock. It's very possible. We're in the middle of this magma lake. Look at the edge of the magma pool. That's a sign that it hasn't cooled for long. That means the fire attribute energy here has decreased recently. The fire attribute energy here was much denser before. This means that a fire attribute treasure has been taken away, Su Wang said. Then what should we do? We can't guess which direction this person left in. Xuanhuan was a bit anxious. This time he came out with instructions from his sect seniors, so he naturally knew how precious the Heaven's Mandate stone was. What kind of concept was this? At least he didn't go out the way he came. We can see him that way. Let's go out and check. Su Wang walked out of the cave. In front of the Destiny Stone, middle-grade spirit stones were nothing. As they checked, they found the tiger eagle claw mark. That bastard, he has a flying beast, Xuanhuan cursed. To be able to fly out of this magma lake, it must be a high-level flying beast. We don't know which direction he flew in. This claw mark is special. It's not an ordinary flying beast. We can recognize it when we see it. Let's stick to our original plan and head towards the place with the denser energy. The treasure might not be the only place, Su Wang said. If we want to fly, Can our golden-eye sparrow withstand the temperature of the magma lake? Xuanhuan was unsure. No, we have to go out the way we came. Flying above the magma lake will consume a lot of energy. If we can't fly out, we'll be dead. Xuanhuan did not dare to take the risk. Night Sorrow dared to take the risk because he had the spiritual spring nectar and a large amount of spiritual origin nectar. Xuanhuan also had spirit spring water, but he only had a small amount. He would not waste it here. In fact, if he hadn't obtained a large amount of origin spiritual liquid from the underground cave, Night Sorrow wouldn't have been able to fly on the Tiger Eagle. He really couldn't afford it. Night Sorrow withstood the impact of the energy as he advanced. He treated this as a form of cultivation. He ate the Flood Dragon Bone Forging Pill and Spiritual Origin Liquid to withstand the pressure as he advanced, using the pressure to temper the energy he absorbed. The Spiritual Origin Elixir was extremely helpful to the cultivation of true Qi, but it was not as helpful to the cultivation of the myriad Daos treasured tome. Therefore, Night Sorrow wanted to consume the Dragon Flood Bone Forging Pill. Time passed bit by bit, and Yi Shan's speed became slower and slower. Night Sorrow walked forward during the day and meditated at night. In any case, he had good wine and meat jerky in his storage ring, so his daily life was not a problem. After half a month, Night Sorrow felt that the pressure he was facing was about the same as the pressure at Danding Cliff. In other words, it would be very difficult for ordinary core condensation cultivators to advance here. However, Night Sorrow also saw a special area. It was a mountain whose peak could not be seen. Energy ribbons could be seen rotating around the mountain. Seeing this situation, Night Sorrow was very happy. This was the situation when he had obtained the fire and water elemental origin stones. Love Gon Little Say Ko. Although he was happy, Night Sorrow knew that the next 100 miles would be very difficult to cross. After calming down, Night Sorrow started to attack again. He knew that it would be easy as long as he reached the foot of the mountain. The energy strips were produced when the energy exceeded the gaseous state and was close to the liquid state. At that time, the pressure would not be omnidirectional and could be avoided. What Night Sorrow didn't know was that in other directions, there were also people who were moving forward under the pressure, but their speed was much slower than his. Hundreds of miles to the east of Night Sorrow, several young men in embroidered clothes were constantly rushing forward. They were still far away from the mountain and could not see it. Brother Xianxia, we can't go on. If we continue to attack like this, there will be no end. A man in embroidered clothes said. The source of the energy suppression is definitely abnormal. It is very likely that there is a peerless treasure. Otherwise, no one will be able to get it. If we can get it, it will belong to our holy light religion. Then you guys can slowly walk behind. I will attack first. Ho Xianxia said. After entering the different space, he had a breakthrough and entered the severed divinity stage. With the true Qi protecting his body, he had an advantage over the others. Ho Xianxia slowly distanced himself from the others. It's meaningless for us to follow like this. Even if there are benefits, it will be taken away by others. Should we change direction? The man who spoke first suggested. His suggestion was adopted by the others. Several people separated to look for their own opportunities. In another direction, the same situation occurred. Everyone was not stupid. They knew that the source of the energy shock would be a precious treasure. It might be the destiny stone that the sect had urged them to obtain. However, the current situation was that the pressure was too great. Many people could not withstand it. Night Sorrow continued to attack. When he was 10 miles away from the bottom of the mountain, the energy suppression had reached the level of the 5,100 meters platform at Pill Tripod Cliff. The constant advance consumed a lot of Night Sorrow's energy. Fortunately, he had the spiritual liquid origin. If he consumed too much, he could directly use the spiritual liquid origin to replenish it. At the foot of the mountain, the energy suppression was reduced. Because the energy density had reached an extreme, it turned into energy stripes. It was not a seamless suppression. After taking a sip from the wine jug, Yi Shang turned around to look. Night Sorrow was very glad that he was able to reach here. The pressure in the final stage was at the 5,200 meters level at Pill Tripod Cliff. There were only a few core condensation disciples in the Medicine Valley who had reached this height. Other than that, it was a temporary impact. The pressure here was continuous for tens of thousands of miles. The people in the Medicine Valley could reach the 5,200 meters level at Pill Tripod Cliff, but they definitely could not reach here. Putting away the wine jar, Night Sorrow avoided the energy ripples and began to climb the mountain. The visible energy stripes were not much of a threat to Night Sorrow. He used the soaring dragon steps and quickly rushed to the top of the mountain. The lack of pressure made Night Sorrow feel abnormally relaxed. As he moved quickly, clouds and energy stripes appeared under him. However, he still could not see the end of the mountain. Night Sorrow continued to move and climb while avoiding the energy stripes that were getting denser and denser. 10,000 meters, 20,000 meters, Night Sorrow conquered higher and higher. Although there was no energy suppression, the feeling of emptiness and violence was still in his mind and heart. Head 4, Hair 0, the consumption was too great. Night Sorrow did not care about the heartache. He directly replenished his spiritual liquid origin and continued to attack the mountain. Chapter 285. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After looking at the clouds and energy strips below him, Night Sorrow raised his head and looked up. He still couldn't see the top of the mountain. Night Sorrow also noticed a special situation. The energy strips that he could see were blood-colored, but if he sensed it carefully, he would find that there was a very strong fluctuation outside of the red energy strips. It was an energy that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. In order to confirm his judgment, Night Sorrow broke off a rock from the mountain and threw it at the energy strips not far away. He threw it at the periphery of the blood-colored energy strips. The moment the rock was thrown, the energy fluctuation appeared and directly crushed the rock. The blood-colored energy strips only fluctuated a little. Night Sorrow took a deep breath. This rock confirmed his guess. The invisible energy outside of the blood-colored energy strips was the most dangerous. He didn't know what kind of energy it was, but he knew that it was very domineering. After stabilizing his emotions, Night Sorrow continued to charge upwards. He didn't believe that there was a mountain that he couldn't climb. As he climbed, the energy strips became denser. Night Sorrow was now also scouting ahead. He used the sky-piercing spear to scout ahead. He was also worried that he would encounter the invisible energy strips. 30,000 meters, 40,000 meters. Night Sorrow was extremely shocked. This wasn't a mountain range, but a lone mountain. It was simply unimaginable that a lone mountain could have such a height. The highest mountain he had ever seen was the Eastern Snow Mountain in the Far East Icefield, but it was far inferior to this. While throwing the sky-piercing spear with the Ice Flood Dragon tendon, Night Sorrow climbed upwards. He didn't need to use the Ice Flood Dragon tendon to climb, but he was afraid that the energy strips would send the sky-piercing spear flying. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to find it. Climbing wasn't strenuous. Night Sorrow mainly focused on dodging the energy strips. As for riding a flying demonic beast, Night Sorrow didn't dare to think about it. The energy strips dancing in the sky were definitely a forbidden zone for flying demonic beasts. 60,000 meters, 70,000 meters. Night Sorrow estimated that he had climbed about 70,000 meters. The mountain walls were getting steeper and steeper. Sometimes, Night Sorrow had to stab the sky-piercing spear into the mountain walls to climb up. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. After climbing for a while, Night Sorrow finally saw the peak of the mountain. At the same time, he also saw the situation at the top of the mountain. In the sky above the mountain peak, there was an enormous spinning energy vortex. The energy vortex covered the sky. Slowly, Night Sorrow arrived at the peak of the mountain. Standing at the peak, Night Sorrow felt what it meant to be lonely at the top. This was the true peak of a mountain. The peak of the mountain was only 20 to 30 feet in radius. This mountain was more than 70,000 meters tall, and there was only a small landing area at the peak, surrounded by cliffs. This lone peak was like a sharp awl, and Night Sorrow was standing at the tip of the awl. Above Night Sorrow's head was a huge energy vortex. Love gone little sake Night Sorrow couldn't see how big the vortex was, but circles of blood-colored energy were spinning in the vortex. Night Sorrow knew that in the middle of the blood-colored stripes, there were even more tyrannical invisible energy stripes. Above Night Sorrow's head was the center of the vortex, and there were two round beads at the center. The one in the middle was a pale purple bead the size of an egg. It was spinning rapidly on its own. Not far from it, there was a blood-colored bead. The blood-colored bead was spinning around the purple bead like the energy vortex. Destiny stones. After observing these two beads, Night Sorrow knew what they were. They were destiny stones. Moreover, they weren't ordinary destiny stones. They were the spatial origin of this fiendish space. The blood-colored one was the fiendish chi origin stone. It should be called the origin bead because it was an existence that surpassed the origin stone. Night Sorrow didn't know what attribute the other bead was, but he knew that the feeling of emptiness and powerlessness was coming from this bead. Fiendish space. Could this be the origin stone of the void attribute? This thought appeared in Night Sorrow's mind. After letting Tianyu out and telling Tianyu to stand still, Night Sorrow flashed and stood on the back of Tianyu's neck. His right hand, which was wearing a claw glove, reached for the blood fiend destiny bead. He knew that the core of this place was the purple destiny bead, so it wasn't wrong to grab it first. After being grabbed by Night Sorrow, the blood fiend destiny bead shook a few times and then stopped moving. Yishang took out a jade box and put it away. He put the blood fiend destiny pearl into his storage ring. Then he reached out to grab the void destiny pearl again. Just as he grabbed the purple void fate bead, Night Sorrow's expression changed. The shaking force was too strong and he almost couldn't grab it. Landing on the ground from Qianyu's back, Night Sorrow's true chi and myriad Tao Tome's energy exploded at the same time. His right hand tightly grabbed the purple destiny bead. His right hand almost couldn't hold it anymore. Night Sorrow put his left hand together and grabbed the purple destiny bead with both hands. When his left hand and right hand came together, something that shocked Night Sorrow happened. The purple void fate bead drilled into Night Sorrow's bare left hand. Like a wave of energy, it directly entered Night Sorrow's dantian. Then it stopped beside Night Sorrow's dantian and stopped moving. This situation shocked Night Sorrow. Such a dangerous thing had actually entered his dantian. Any shake could destroy his dantian, and it could even blow Night Sorrow into pieces. Night Sorrow carefully tried to circulate his true chi. After feeling that there was no problem, he used his true chi to hit the purple destiny bead twice. The purple destiny bead still didn't react. Only then did Night Sorrow put his foot down. When Night Sorrow felt a little more at ease, his expression changed again. At this time the wind and clouds changed. The energy whirlpool in the sky began to riot because it had lost its core. The strips of energy surrounding the mountain began to disperse, turning into a visible energy ball. Night Sorrow didn't care about that. He let out Qianyu and had Qianyu dodge the energy ball. Then he rode Qianyu down the mountain. He told Qianyu that if he was sucked in by the energy ball, he would be done for. Night Sorrow rode Qianyu down the mountain. The energy at the top of the mountain began to riot. Then it blew up the mountain and continued to press down. The sound of explosions continued to ring out. The energy pressed down closely behind Night Sorrow and Qianyu. The sky was filled with rocks as they flew down the mountain. Qianyu also knew that the situation was urgent. His flying speed was peerless. It was as if he was competing with the falling rocks. Night Sorrow turned around and looked at the mountain that was getting shorter and shorter. He was very shocked. He had destroyed this great monument of nature. X $8 unique/original version 1. W's is the Q Steel E version. The peak of the mountain had been flattened. It was 10,000 meters high. The mountain had become thicker, but the energy ball didn't break. However, the surface of the mountain was still exploding, but the speed had decreased. After all, the mountain had become thicker. Qianyu, speed up. Let's run. Now that there was no danger, Night Sorrow was excited. He waved his arms and shouted. Qianyu let out a cry and continued to fly down the mountain. The harvest this time was too great. 2 space source stones. They were the source of the entire space. How could Night Sorrow not be happy? But then a problem appeared. The Nihility Fate Pearls and Blood Evil Fate Pearls were taken away. The originally incomparably tyrannical energy suppression disappeared. The others did not have to endure the pressure anymore. All kinds of flying demon beasts appeared and flew towards the lone peak. Everyone knew that this was a key area. Night Sorrow saw the black dots from afar and immediately understood what was going on. Chapter 286. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow rode on Qianyu and flew close to the mountain peak. Due to the angle, the people in the distance couldn't see them. Love gone little say W. Chu. At this moment, Qianyu's speed was extremely fast. It knew that the situation was urgent. Since it had lived with Night Sorrow since it was young, Night Sorrow had never urged it. Night Sorrow was descending rapidly. The disciples of the super sects were riding on flying demonic beasts and didn't notice that Night Sorrow had already slipped down. When they weren't far from the bottom of the mountain, Night Sorrow rode on Qianyu and began to fly horizontally. Just when Night Sorrow thought that everything was fine, a few men rode on flying demonic beasts and blocked his path. Which force are you from? What happened here? A man looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I don't know. I just arrived, Night Sorrow said. Leave your storage ring and flying demonic beasts and scram. The leader of the group, a man in a white robe, glanced at Night Sorrow and said, Get out of the way. I'll pretend that nothing happened. Night Sorrow didn't want to hurt anyone. He just wanted to leave. Do you want to die? Didn't you hear what my senior brother said? A young man in a brocade robe said flatteringly. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.ichuxs.com. Since you want to die, I won't talk nonsense. Night Sorrow shouted for Xianyu to fight. Then 2 sky-piercing spears flew out. After shooting out the sky-piercing spears, Night Sorrow's body soared into the sky. The reincarnation spear slashed at the leader of the group. The reincarnation spear was also infused with vibration energy. Following 2 miserable screams, Night Sorrow's violent sky-piercing spears killed 2 young men who weren't prepared for battle at all. You're courting death. Seeing that 2 of his fellow disciples had been killed, the white-robed young man was enraged. He waved his saber and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. At the same time he also left his mount. Ding. When the weapons collided, the young man's saber was deflected to the side. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear swung and slashed across the young man's throat with ease. #L is the only true YC version, and the other 1+3 are all pirated. After slashing the man's throat, Night Sorrow rushed towards the last person. Since he had already made his move, Night Sorrow had no intention of leaving anyone alive. Stop. We are from the Scarlet Cloud sect. Seeing Night Sorrow coming over, the man rode his flying beast and rushed up the mountain. His speed was incomparably fast. When Night Sorrow killed his 2 companions with his sky-piercing spear, he had already retreated. He could tell that Night Sorrow was no match for him. Seeing this guy running away, Night Sorrow called back Xianyu, who was about to chase after him. If he wanted to chase after him, it would be a waste of time. With so many elites gathered here, it was better to leave. Night Sorrow went to the corpses and collected the 2 storage rings, 1 storage belt and 3 beast-taming crystals. He also collected the 3 green-feathered eagles from the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples, collected the sky-piercing reeds and left on Xianyu. Night Sorrow didn't need the flying beast, but many people did. The disciples of Yang Lei Aoi and the others all lacked it. Night Sorrow rode on Xianyu and flew rapidly in the sky. After flying for 700 to 800 li, he saw Yu Lin Tianjue Gu Lin, and 2 other disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow. Yu shouted. Night Sorrow controlled Xianyu to stop in the air and said, "The disciples of all the forces have gathered in front. There's nothing to gain and there will be a chaotic battle." "Alright, let's retreat then." Yu nodded. "Alright. I just killed a few people. Our robes are the same. Don't count it to me." Night Sorrow didn't wait for them and left. He still had to find resources. Night Sorrow left, but Lin Tianjue didn't move. "Martial uncle, I think this is an opportunity. Night Sorrow doesn't dare to fight with him alone, but we have more people," Lin Tianjue said. "In terms of seniority, he's your martial uncle. How can you call him by his name? Gulin, what do you think?" Yu glared at Lin Tianjue and then looked at Gulin and the others. "I'll listen to martial uncle and senior brother Lin," Gulin and the others said. Some of them were already out of ideas. They had already lost a few people on the way here. If they split up now, it would be very dangerous. "I'm going. I can't come here for nothing." Lin Tianjue had already made up his mind. "Alright then. Let's go." Seeing Lin Tianjue's insistence, Yu didn't object. After all, they had been together for a long time. The escaping Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple flew towards the peak of the mountain. When he reached the peak, he saw the scene of a confrontation. The disciples of the major forces were facing each other and looking around. "Senior brother Lei Bao, a few of our senior brothers were killed by a guy riding a white flying demonic beast." The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple came to the front of the Thunder Rumbling sect's leader. "A white flying demonic beast. Xianxia, take a look. Is this the feather?" Lei Bao took out a white feather and handed it to the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple. It was a feather that Xianyu had dropped when he was hit by a rock. Thunder Rumbling sect and Scarlet Cloud sect were allies. This time, Scarlet Cloud sect had also entered through the passage of Thunder Rumbling sect. "Yes, that's right. It's the flying demonic beast with this feather." The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple, xianxia, took a look at the feather and said, "He's the one who got here before us. Let's go." Lei Bao glanced at the disciples of the other forces and flew down the mountain. Since they knew who had arrived before them, they had to find him first. Lei Bao was the leader of the Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples and had already entered the Severed God realm. Soon after, some of the disciples of the other sects left to chase after Night Sorrow. Some of them searched the peak of the mountain, hoping to find an opportunity. More and more people left. Those who came here were the elites of the major forces. They weren't brainless. The environment here had been destroyed, which meant that the treasure that controlled the balance here had been lost. Before Yu and Lin Tianjue reached the peak, they were stopped by Lei Bao and the others. Xianxia had pointed out that Yu and the others were the same as Night Sorrow. Soon after, a battle broke out. Because Lei Bao had entered the 4th level, Yu and Lin Tianjue were no match for him. They were all seriously injured and captured. Who's the one riding the white mount? Lei Bao looked at Yu. I don't know. Yu answered Lei Bao and turned his head to the side. Tell me, who are you? Who's the one riding the white mount? Lei Bao asked Gu Lin. If you want to kill us, then kill us. Don't talk so much nonsense. We are all cultivators. Humiliating us is meaningless. Gu Lin spat out a mouthful of blood and said, Then tell me. If you don't, then there's no point in keeping you alive. Lei Bao's heavy sword was placed on Lin Tianjue's neck. Lin Tianjue was silent. He didn't expect Lei Bao to be so ruthless when he asked him this question. You are different from them. They didn't hesitate when they answered. Even if you killed them, they wouldn't say anything. I know that. But you will say it's because your eyes are wandering and you are afraid of death. Lei Bao's heavy sword slowly pressed down on Lin Tianjue's neck. Chapter 287. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. They don't even have confidence in you, haha. Are you going to talk or not? If you don't, then die. Lei Bao laughed and continued to press his heavy sword against Lin Tianjue's neck. I'll talk. Looking at Lei Bao's cold face, Lin Tianjue was scared. Lin Tianjue, you piece of trash. Gu Lin scolded. Ignoring Gu Lin, Lin Tianjue spilled the beans and told him everything about Night Sorrow. Let him go. Lei Bao pointed at Yu. CDG version IP Chapter 5 on TD. The Disciple of Thunder Sect released Yu. You have a backbone and strength. How about this? You go find Night Sorrow and tell him that the people of Medicine Valley are in our hands. Tell him to go to the entrance, I'll wait for you there. Lei Ming looked at Yu and said. Yu looked at Lei Ming and didn't say anything. He went over and helped the other disciples of Medicine Valley up and gave them healing pills. Go ahead. Don't think about saving Night Sorrow. I'll get the location of the entrance to Medicine Valley from him. You can give up on this shameless guy, but what about them? Lei Bao put away his heavy sword and slapped Lin Tianjue's face. Then he pointed at Gu Lin and the other two. I'll tell him, but please don't abuse the disciples of Medicine Valley. Yu looked at Gu Lin and the others and said. Lei Ming raised his leg and broke one of Lin Tianjue's legs. This is not worth your pleading. As for them, as long as they don't run, I won't make it difficult for them. After breaking Lin Tianjue's leg, Lei Bao said. Trash. Martial uncle, you didn't let you come, but you insisted on coming. Then you shamelessly betrayed your fellow disciples. Even if others don't punish you, I won't let you go. Gu Lin glared at Lin Tianjue. Lin Tianjue's face turned pale. He didn't expect Lei Bao to be so ruthless. Lei Bao was very famous in Thunder Sect. Before he entered the spirit-severing stage, he was invincible in the core condensation stage of Thunder Sect. Give him some resources and a few healing pills. Lei Bao said to a Thunder Sect disciple behind him. Lei Bao took Yu and the other storage rings. The Thunder Sect disciple took out a storage belt and threw it to Yu. Go find Yishang. We'll head towards the passageway of your Medicine Valley. After you find him, don't leave the passageway. If you do, the other disciples of the Medicine Valley won't be able to leave, Lei Bao said. He planned to block the spatial passageway of the Medicine Valley. Yu didn't say anything. He flashed onto the back of the flying beast and left, following the path Yishang had taken. It did not matter if Lin Tianjue was saved or not, but there were still the 3 elite disciples of the Medicine Valley. Furthermore, Lei Bao would go to the spatial passageway and make things difficult for the other Medicine Valley disciples. Night Sorrow is the strongest person in the Medicine Valley team. No matter what Night Sorrow does, Night Sorrow must know. Night Sorrow traveled for more than 5,000 miles before he got down from Tianyu's back. He let Tianyu recover while he took a rest. This distance is relatively unsafe, but Night Sorrow is not afraid. At least he won't be surrounded. As long as he is not surrounded, Night Sorrow is not afraid of any battle. Night Sorrow first organized the materials of the Red Cloud Sect disciples. The 3 of them also collected a lot of herbs. Night Sorrow felt that the 4th and 5th level materials can be used to refine a lot of pills. After organizing the materials, Night Sorrow began to meditate cross-legged. There is still something in his dantian that can go wrong at any time, the Void Fate Pearl. He controlled the spiritual energy in his dantian to collide and refine the Void Fate Pearl. Night Sorrow studied it for an hour, but there was no reaction from the Void Fate Pearl. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow calmed down a little. It was an opportunity to obtain the Void Fate Pearl. Normally, the Void Fate Pearl would not hurt him. If it did not approve of him, it would not enter his dantian. Feeling that there is no problem, Night Sorrow began to cultivate after consuming the spiritual liquid of origin. He is not far from the 9th level of the core formation realm. He may reach the peak of the 8th level at any time. Under the high pressure, it is difficult for Night Sorrow to cultivate slowly even if he wants to. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow began to move forward. He let Xianxia patrol in the air while he walked on the ground to look for spiritual herbs. Night Sorrow did not expect to have any big harvest. He has already obtained the space origin of the void fiendish space. What big harvest is there to look for? Perhaps there are other space origins in other places. But in this space with a radius of millions of miles, it is as difficult as ascending to the heavens to find it. It is a heaven-defying opportunity to encounter it. What Night Sorrow did not know is that it is not only the people from the Thunder Rumbling sect and EU who are looking for him. People from other sects are also looking for Night Sorrow, who is wearing a white battle suit and riding a white demonic beast. Many people heard the conversation between xianxia and Lei Bao. Everyone believed that Gu Feng's treasure was taken by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow walked in the direction of the Medicine Valley. While looking for opportunities, he also improved his cultivation. After walking for a day, when they were about to set up camp in the evening, Xianxia in the sky let out a cry. Two people appeared in Night Sorrow's sight. "Senior brother, it should be him." A man in a black robe said. "These two people are from the Holy Light Temple. They have been to Gu Feng's peak and saw Xianxia, so they made this judgment." Seeing the hostility of these two people, Night Sorrow did not say anything. He took out the sky-piercing spear and threw it. These two sky-piercing spears were dodged by the two Holy Light Temple disciples. However, Night Sorrow threw out another two spears. These two sky-piercing spears, which were imbued with vibration scripture, bounced off the other side's blocking weapons and directly nailed them to death. Night Sorrow stepped forward and collected the storage belts of the two guys. After taking back the sky-piercing spears, he left. If it was a strong opponent, Night Sorrow would be interested in exchanging pointers with them. However, this was also a level 8 core condensation stage opponent. Night Sorrow was not interested. Half an hour after Night Sorrow left, EU appeared. Seeing the blood stains that had not dried up in the wounds of the two people, he suddenly felt happy. He could see that the wounds were penetrating wounds, traces of a spear-type weapon. However, there were not many people who used spears. In this different space, he had not seen anyone who used a spear. At present, he only knew that Night Sorrow used a spear. Riding on his flying demonic beast, EU began to give chase. He had to find Sorrow. The current situation was still not out of control. If he could solve the problem before Lei Bao gathered the Thunder Rumbling sect disciples to block the entrance, then the crisis would be resolved. After chasing for a while, EU saw Night Sorrow, who was making a fire and roasting meat. Night Sorrow. Jumping off the flying demon beast, EU staggered toward Night Sorrow. What happened to you?" Night Sorrow helped EU up and poured a bowl of wine for him. He could see that EU was injured. "We have a problem. Do you have any way to solve it?" After drinking a bowl of wine, EU explained the situation in detail. "Lin Qianjue. What a scourge. Where are they now?" Night Sorrow was very annoyed. He had already said that he did not want to go, but Lin Qianjue still wanted to go. In the end, he even betrayed him. This was a typical shameless villain. Chapter 288. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. They should be behind us. I followed the direction you went. Lin Qianjue and the people from the Thunder Rumbling sect should be heading in the direction of the Medicine Valley, EU said. Let's go intercept them. We can't let them go to the Medicine Valley's entrance to the alternate dimension. Otherwise, it will be troublesome and bring danger to the others, Night Sorrow said. But they have a lot of people. That Lei Bao has a cultivation of the 4th rank. Although EU felt that Night Sorrow's words made sense, she was worried that they wouldn't be a match for Lei Bao's group. I'll deal with Lei Bao. Can you hold off the others for a while? Night Sorrow asked after thinking for a while. I need to recover. My injuries will affect my battle, EU said apologetically. Take this. If you can't hold them off, throw it at them. When you do, use your true chi to break the cloth bag. Night Sorrow gave the first simple poison stone he made to EU. What's this? EU looked at Night Sorrow in confusion while holding the cloth bag. Poison stone. As long as it comes into contact with flesh, it will corrode the opponent's flesh and bones, Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, EU's hand trembled. This inconspicuous bag of stones was too ruthless. Love go little say W, chew, then let's go find them now. Let's find their tracks first and then find an opportunity to make our move, Night Sorrow said as he stood up. Night Sorrow, my flying demonic beast has run out of energy. Yu glanced at his eagle trainer and said, "Don't worry. You can ride on this." Night Sorrow casually summoned the tiger hawk. Looking at the ferocious tiger hawk, Yu was shocked. "You have 2 flying beasts?" "Yes, let's go. Saving the others is more important." Night Sorrow flashed onto Tianyu's back. Seeing Yu also get on the tiger eagle's back, Night Sorrow gave the order to fly because the tiger eagle wouldn't listen to Yu. Sitting on the back of the tiger eagle, Yu ate some food. Night Sorrow also gave Yu some healing medicine. During battle, Yu had to contribute. Yu pointed in a direction looking for the path they came from. Night Sorrow only knew how to identify the direction. He didn't really pay attention to the path. After chasing for 2 days, Night Sorrow and Yu found some traces. They were the claw marks of several flying demonic beasts and some blood-stained medicinal cloths that had been thrown away. "It shouldn't be wrong. They're not far ahead of us," Night Sorrow said after looking at the marks on the ground. "Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do? How are you going to fight?" Yu's priority was Night Sorrow. "Our priority is to save the others. The rest is secondary," Night Sorrow said. "There's another situation. Lin Tianjua's leg is broken and it's not easy to save him. However, if we don't save him, the location of the Medicine Valley's entrance will be exposed." Yu looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Then if there's a chance, we'll take care of him," Night Sorrow said. Yu nodded. He also wanted to kill Lin Tianjua. After all, Lin Tianjua had betrayed the Medicine Valley, his senior and junior brothers, and his uncle master's elders. The 2 of them chased slowly while Yu recovered from his injuries. One day later, Yu spoke, "Night Sorrow, I can fight now." "That's good. After they set up camp at night, the 2 of us will take action. Your main task is to save the others," Night Sorrow said. "Night Sorrow, you have to take care of your own safety. If you can't do it, retreat. This incident was caused by us," Yu said apologetically. Night Sorrow shook his head. "There's no use thinking about it now. When the time comes, throw the people you save onto the tiger eagles. Their safety will be guaranteed." At night, Night Sorrow and Yu sneaked to Lei Bao's camp. Gu Lin and 2 other disciples of the Medicine Valley sat together with their hands tied. Lin Tianjua was on the other side. Gu Lin and the others hated Lin Tianjua so much that they didn't want to sit with him. Around Gu Lin and the other 2 sat 3 disciples of the Thunder Clan. Beside Lin Tianjua was a disciple of the Thunder Clan and there was another tent. Night Sorrow and Yu knew that it was where Lei Bao and the other disciple were staying. Night Sorrow took out 2 sky-piercing spears and pointed to where Gu Lin and the others were. "More. Tinu, 7 fastest." Yu nodded and took out his long sword. When Yu was ready, Night Sorrow made his move. The 2 sky-piercing spears shot towards the 2 disciples of the Thunder Clan who were guarding Gu Lin and the others. With a loud explosion, Night Sorrow's 2 sky-piercing spears killed the 2 disciples of the Thunder Clan. After releasing the tiger eagles, Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and charged towards the last disciple of the Thunder Clan who was guarding Gu Lin and the others. Now that there was no one around Gu Lin and the others, Gu Lin waved his long sword and cut the ropes binding them. He then threw them onto the back of the tiger eagles. After doing this, Yu charged towards the disciple of the Thunder Clan who was guarding Lin Tianjua. Ding! Night Sorrow's sure-kill spear attack towards the disciple of the Thunder Clan was blocked. Night Sorrow was forced back 2 steps while the disciple of the Thunder Clan was pulled behind a man. "You are Night Sorrow?" Lei Bao asked. It was Lei Bao who saved the disciple of the Thunder Clan. "Yes, I am." Night Sorrow looked at Lei Bao. Lei Bao's strength was very strong. The violent energy that was transmitted to Night Sorrow's hand made Night Sorrow somewhat uncomfortable. "Don't move. If you come any closer, I'll kill him." The other disciple of the Thunder Clan who was holding Lin Tianjua couldn't resist Yu's attack. He retreated a few steps and put his long sword on Lin Tianjua's neck. "Lei Jing, kill him and then come over," Lei Ming said to the disciple of the Thunder Clan who was holding Lin Tianjua. "You can't kill me?" Lin Tianjua's expression changed greatly as he shouted. "You are not the same as them. They don't want to talk. I didn't make things difficult for you guys in the Medicine Valley because I would do the same if it were me. But you are too unprincipled." Lei Bao waved his hand at Lei Jing. Lei Jing waved his sword and cut off Lin Tianjua's neck. Night Sorrow and Lei Bao looked at each other. On the other side, Yu also took back Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spear. "You are very brave. Then let's settle this in a man's way. If you win, you can take all of them in these. If you lose, you have to hand over what you got in the Lonely Peak." Lei Bao waved his hand and threw out the storage rings of Yu, Gu Lin and the others. "Good. If I knew you would settle this in this way, I wouldn't have killed them. Night Sorrow glanced at the corpses of the two people he had just killed and said, "This is the fate of practitioners. If you lose, I will avenge them. If I can't win, then I have fulfilled my responsibility as a fellow disciple." Lei Bao said, "Then come on." Night Sorrow waved his arm and twisted the reincarnation spear in his right hand. The blade of the spear made a soft sound, announcing the start of the battle. Chapter 289. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Lei Bao knew that if they were to fight, the result would not be good. There would be casualties among the disciples of the Thunder Clan. Love gone little say W. Xuan. Night Sorrow sighed. He had already rescued the person, so he had nothing to worry about. If he wanted to leave, they might not be able to stop him. In addition, Lei Bao also wanted to fight fair and square. Night Sorrow's spear just now had made his fighting spirit boil. Brandishing the heavy sword in his hand, Lei Bao jumped up and slashed towards Night Sorrow. The tip of the heavy sword shot out half-a-foot-long sword chi. This was the signature of a 4th-rank cultivator, the release of chi. 3rd-rank cultivators had Dan beads, so their chi was very condensed. 4th-rank cultivators could release their chi to form a protective chi, and it could also be used to attack. Seeing Lei Bao rushing towards him, Night Sorrow stabbed his spear towards Lei Bao. Ding! Their weapons collided. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back, and Lei Bao was also pushed back by Night Sorrow. One move, neither of them had the upper hand. Night Sorrow's shock force was cancelled out. Lei Bao also had a special technique, the explosive force. The shock force was cancelled out, but Night Sorrow's body was strong, so he did not lose out. Instead, he had the upper hand. The two of them did not move and looked at each other. It was the first time Night Sorrow met an opponent who could resist his shock force. Lei Bao was the same. He was shocked. His cultivation was 2 levels higher than Night Sorrow, and there was a gap of 1 level between them. Even with the explosive force, he still could not gain the upper hand. After looking at each other, the two of them continued to fight. The sound of chi colliding could be heard continuously. Although Lei Bao was at a disadvantage because he was not as strong as Night Sorrow, his chi was strong enough to resist the shock force. He could still fight head-on with Night Sorrow. The battlefield between the two was constantly shifting. The thunderstorm sword technique was violent and exquisite. It could block Night Sorrow's wind-chasing spear technique, but if it wanted to block Night Sorrow's spear technique, it would be impossible for it to continue attacking. Thunderstorm was able to block it, but Night Sorrow continued to bombard it. He knew that Thunderstorm was consuming more energy than him. The battle between the two had attracted the attention of the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling clan and the Medicine Valley. This was simply not a battle of this level. It was too wild and overbearing. Lei Bao had the ability to fight above his level, and similarly Night Sorrow also had the ability to fight above his level. Just using the sword technique was not enough. Lei Bao used the heavy sword in his right hand to block Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Then he used his left hand to send a palm strike towards Night Sorrow. Lei Bao's palm attack was exactly what Night Sorrow wanted. Night Sorrow's left hand, which was wearing the azure claw glove, met Lei Bao's left hand. When he sent out the palm strike, an energy whirlpool with a diameter of 1.5 feet appeared on his hand. The night light was not good, and there were only a few piles of charcoal. When Lei Bao realized that something was wrong, it was already too late for him to withdraw his attack. He could only send all the chi in his body to his left hand to protect his left hand, and continue to attack. Bang! With a muffled sound, the two separated. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back, but Lei Bao did not. Lei Bao was directly sent flying by Night Sorrow's Vajra hand, which was infused with the energy of the myriad Tao Tome. After Lei Bao landed on the ground, his left hand was trembling, and his expression was extremely unnatural. Lei Bao was at a great disadvantage. 1/3 of his chi protection was shattered by Night Sorrow. Not only did he consume a lot of energy, the bones in his left hand were also shattered. After repelling Lei Bao with one move, Night Sorrow stomped his foot and charged towards Lei Bao. At this moment he did not consume a lot of energy so he could fight against Lei Bao. Although Lei Bao's left hand was injured and consumed a lot of energy, it did not affect his fighting strength. His violent sword art was still able to block Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear attack. However, he did not use his explosive force to attack, and instead used it to defend against Night Sorrow's shock force attack. It was impossible for Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear to rely on the shock force to repel Lei Bao's heavy sword. Seeing that Lei Bao used his explosive force to defend, Night Sorrow immediately changed the way he used his strength. He changed the shock force into the wave force. The wave force was not as ferocious as the shock force, but wave after wave of continuous bombardment made it even harder for Lei Bao to defend. After being bombarded by Night Sorrow's violent spear once again, Lei Bao retreated a few steps and waved his hand at the advancing Night Sorrow. If you only want to take them away, then you win. If you want to take revenge for him or have other thoughts, then I can only fight with my life. You can kill me, but you will have to pay a great price. Lei Bao glanced at Lin Qianjue's corpse and said, "He's not worth my revenge. I will save them." Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Lei Bao. He knew that Lei Bao was very magnanimous and would have a life-saving trump card. He was definitely not bluffing. Lei Jing, bury them. I, Lei Bao, am in the wrong for this matter. For the opportunity, I can only look for you like this. I am not your opponent, so the opportunity is yours. I will not have any more thoughts about it. Lei Bao said after putting away his heavy sword. AB latest chapter #Part 1, Magnanimous. I am very grateful that you did not make things difficult for them. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and threw it to Lei Bao. He appreciated people like Lei Bao, who was straightforward and not hypocritical. Lei Bao took the wine jar, opened it and drank 2 mouthfuls. Not bad, good wine. I believe that we will have a chance to meet again. If you don't mind, we will be friends again. Good. Next time we meet, we will be friends. You pack up and leave. Night Sorrow nodded and then shouted to Yu. There is one more thing I need to tell you. The passage that your Medicine Valley used to enter here may have been exposed. Thunder Rumbling Clan and Red Cloud Clan are allies. Red Cloud Clan's xianxia asked him to draw a map and then took it away. Because we are allies, although I was not happy, I did not stop him. After all, your news was brought to me by xianxia. Lei Bao pointed at Lin Qianjue's corpse and said, "Some things are unavoidable. Thank you for reminding me." Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Lei Bao and then released Qianyu. He flashed to Qianyu's back and gave the order to the tiger eagle in the sky. On the other side, Yu had already received the resources from Gu Lin and the others and got on the back of her tiger trainer. After flying for 1,000 miles, Night Sorrow let Qianyu and the tiger eagle land. The night was still not safe. Demon beasts were rampant, and they would be in danger if they were not careful. After getting off the tiger trainer, Yu returned the storage rings, resources, and beast-taming crystals that Lei Bao had robbed from Gu Lin and the others. Thank you for saving us, martial uncle. Gu Lin and the others bowed to Night Sorrow to express their gratitude. At the same time, they felt guilty. If they had not gone to the Lonely Peak, none of this would have happened. I am glad that Lin Qianjue was the only one who betrayed me. However, because of me, you guys have to suffer. Night Sorrow said. We did not suffer. The disciples of Thunder Rumbling Clan only tied us up and did not let us escape. They did not bully us. It was that scum Lin Qianjue who was often beaten up. Gu Lin said. All of you should recuperate. We don't have time to continue looking for opportunities. If we return to the passageway too late, the other disciples of the Medicine Valley will be caught in the crossfire, Yi Shang said. Chapter 290. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Chapter = section N, on %. The truth was obvious. When they first met Lei Bao and fought, Yu and Gu Lin attacked Lei Bao at the same time. After a few rounds, they were injured by Lei Bao and were captured. Baidu search love go female sign Xiao Xiao www.ix. So now, Night Sorrow defeated the overbearing Lei Bao by himself. After feeding Qianyu and Tiger Eagle Beast pills, Night Sorrow sat down to cultivate. Gu Lin and the others changed shifts. Everyone knew that it was not safe at night. After cultivating until the second half of the night, Night Sorrow realized that his true chi had reached a bottleneck. He had reached the peak of level 8 core formation and needed to advance. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow called Gu Lin, who was on night duty. I'm going into seclusion. Wait for me when the sun rises. After instructing Gu Lin, Night Sorrow asked Qianyu to guard him and went to break through. Baidu search love go female sign Xiao Xiao www.ix. Gu Lin stayed outside to guard Night Sorrow. The sky soon brightened. Night Sorrow was also at the point of breaking through. The 9th energy halo was slowly forming. Gu Lin, Yu, and the others were on guard outside. They were extremely shocked. Night Sorrow had only been in the Medicine Valley for less than 2 years. He had already reached level 9 core formation. Which one of them had not cultivated for more than 10 years? After successfully breaking through, Night Sorrow stabilized his cultivation before ending his cultivation. After getting up, Night Sorrow looked at everyone. If there's nothing else, let's set off. Return to the entrance and arrange for the others to prepare for an emergency. Love go Xiao Shua Wuku, okay. EU nodded and got on the back of the eagle trainer. The others also released their flying beasts. These people were all in the top 10 of the pill leaderboard. They all had flying beasts and were very strong. They were captured a while ago because they met the abnormal lay bow. It's just that it delayed the search for resources, Gu Lin said regretfully. Night Sorrow glanced at Gu Lin and the others and said, "If you can't get the resources, then we'll just rob you. Anyone who comes near the entrance of the Medicine Valley has bad intentions. We'll just rob you directly." Martial Uncle is so domineering. Gu Lin and the others laughed. Night Sorrow told Tianyu to ignore EU's eagle training and began to meditate to stabilize his cultivation. In the following days the group sped up their journey. It was a long journey. Night Sorrow had taken more than a month to get here. Although he had wasted some time due to the pressure, it was impossible for him to return quickly. Night Sorrow cultivated on Tianyu's back during the day, but he was not idle at night either. After half a month, Night Sorrow's cultivation had increased a little. His bone-forging cultivation had also reached the peak of the 5th level. He had finished strengthening his chest and abdomen. As long as he strengthened his bone marrow, he would enter the 6th level of the bone-forging realm. When they set up camp at night, Night Sorrow purposely stayed away from the others. He had the Tiger Eagle stand guard outside. After Tianyu stayed close to him, he began to break through. Strengthening his bone marrow was a painful process, but Night Sorrow had already gotten used to it. However, he did not expect a situation to occur. Night Sorrow was in extreme pain. His body was trembling and his forehead was covered in sweat. His facial muscles were twitching uncontrollably. This was discovered by EU, who was on night duty. EU was shocked. He planned to wake Night Sorrow up. This kind of situation was usually caused by a heart demon. Just as EU was about to wake Night Sorrow up, Tianyu could not take it anymore and began to attack. Facing Tianyu's attack, EU retreated, not knowing what to do. EU had no choice but to call Gu Lin and the others over. "What should we do? If we forcefully wake him up, his martial uncle will be seriously injured." "Perhaps he can survive," said Gu Lin. "How can this be? He's just cultivating, not breaking through. How can there be a heart demon?" EU anxiously paced back and forth. Night Sorrow was still working hard to break through. As the most important part of his bone marrow was strengthened, the pain lessened and his external condition improved. Seeing this, EU and the others relaxed. They did not know that if they really interrupted Night Sorrow, it would be troublesome. In the middle of the night, Yishang successfully raised the Myriad Dao Scripture's bone-forging realm cultivation level to the 6th level. Night Sorrow did not get up. He stabilized his cultivation until dawn. He took out a wine jar and drank 2 mouthfuls. "Martial Uncle, are you all right?" asked Gu Lin as he walked over. "I'm fine. What could happen to me?" said Night Sorrow with a smile. He was in a good mood now that his cultivation had increased. "You encountered a heart demon last night. It's good that you can survive," said Gu Lin as he walked over. Yishang was stunned for a moment. He didn't know why everyone was looking at him strangely. "We wanted to wake you up, but Tianyu stopped us," said Gu Lin. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and understood that it was caused by his breakthrough last night. Fortunately, Tianyu stopped them. Otherwise it would be a big problem. "I was cultivating. If you interrupted me, it would be troublesome. Let's not talk about it. Let's go." Night Sorrow put away the Tiger Eagle and jumped onto Tianyu's back. Night Sorrow felt a lingering fear. If Tianyu hadn't been so strong and knew how to protect his master, he would have been tricked. His breakthrough would have been interrupted, and his vitality would have been greatly damaged. He didn't know how long it would take to recover. This time, something had almost happened. Night Sorrow decided to stay away from this group of people when breaking through in the future. It was too easy for something to happen. The following days were peaceful. There were monster attacks, but they were not strong. EU, Gu Lin and the others took care of them. Half a month later, EU forced a breakthrough. He knew that there might be a big battle at the space passage of the Medicine Valley. If he did not improve his strength, Night Sorrow could only fight alone. Night Sorrow was very happy that EU broke through. EU was not as strong as Lei Bao when he entered the 4th stage, but he could suppress the peak of core condensation. It was a month and a half later when they returned to the space passage. Night Sorrow, EU and the others guarded the entrance of the passage. Gu Lin went out of the passage and reported the situation to the sect. After a while, Gu Lin came back. The Great Elder asked Night Sorrow to go out. Night Sorrow returned to the entrance through the space passage. At the entrance of the passage, the Great Elder and Lu Qin sat in the clouds. Disciple greets the Great Elder. Night Sorrow bowed to salute. Gu Lin said that after you go in, you will guard the entrance of the passage and let the others come back smoothly. If there is an opponent you can't resist, then come back immediately. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. The great elders said. Remember, safety is the first. As long as you come out, no one will dare to chase after you. Lu Qinyun reminded Night Sorrow. After chatting with the great elder and Lu Qinyun for a while, Night Sorrow returned to the space passage again. He knew that dozens of people entered the Medicine Valley. Only a few people went out and most of them were still looking for opportunities inside. Days passed and most of the disciples of the Medicine Valley came back. 3 months have passed. It was the same to go back to the passage to look for opportunities. If they went too far and missed the return date, it would be troublesome. No one would take this risk. The disciples of the Medicine Valley who came back knew that Night Sorrow and EU were guarding here. They were willing to share some of the harvest, but Night Sorrow refused and EU did not accept. Chapter 291. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow explained the situation to EU. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs.com. Yes, Lei Bao of the Thunder Rumbling sect won't come, but other people might come. The Red Cloud sect will definitely come. I don't know if the Holy Light sect and the Golden Flame sect have received the news. No matter which force knows the news, they need enough time to go back. Should we come up with a strategy? EU looked at Night Sorrow and said. Avoid the edge? I've thought about it, but the disciples of the Medicine Valley are nearby. If we retreat, they will definitely search for us, and the disciples of the Medicine Valley will be killed. Night Sorrow said. Indeed. Gulin, go and ask the elders if they have any good ideas. EU said to Gulin, asking him to ask for the elders' opinion. Gulin got up and left the passage. He went back and told the elders about the situation. EU's cultivation was at the 4th stage, so he couldn't go out. The great elders' view was the same as Night Sorrow's. If they retreated, the scattered disciples of the Medicine Valley would be unlucky. The Medicine Valley couldn't abandon any of its disciples. The war finally came. 3 days after Night Sorrow's judgment, more than 40 people from the Red Cloud sect came. There were many disciples of the Red Cloud sect who entered the Void Fiend space, but they were scattered after entering. It was not easy to gather so many people in a limited time. Moreover, 3 of them broke through to the spirit severing stage, which was an amazing ratio. This was the foundation of a super force that had been passed down for thousands of years. The more disciples there were, the more core condensation stage disciples there were. Hundreds of core condensation stage disciples could break through normally, and the proportion of disciples who broke through by force was high. Who is Night Sorrow? Hand over the resources we got this time and we will retreat. Otherwise, the disciples of the Medicine Valley will be unlucky. A man in brocade clothes walked at the front and said, I am Night Sorrow. I will take whatever moves you have. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and said, We've already given out all the resources, so you can just give up on it. If you want to fight, we'll play with you. Love Gone Little Say Kuyu said coldly. If you don't send the resources in, then I'll kill you until you do. Remember, I'm Xian of the Scarlet Cloud sect. Kill. When Xian heard that Night Sorrow and the others had given out the resources, he immediately lost his mind and gave the order to kill. All of you stick together. If you can't hold on, just leave. Night Sorrow ignored Xian. He executed the soaring dragon steps and circled around him. Brandishing his reincarnation spear, he charged toward the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. Night Sorrow wanted to stop killing with killing. If he were to fight with Xian, the other disciples of the Red Cloud sect would surround and attack the disciples of the Medicine Valley. It would be a scene of devastation. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear, which had a strength of over 20,000 jin, shook off a Scarlet Cloud sect disciple's weapon. With a swing of the reincarnation spear, the disciple was beheaded. The second Scarlet Cloud sect disciple couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. His weapon was broken and his head was chopped into pieces. Night Sorrow's continuous killing shocked Xian and the other 2 spirit-severing stage Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. They didn't care about attacking EU and the others and directly chased after Night Sorrow. If they ignored Night Sorrow, Xian and the others could kill EU and the others. However, if they did that, most of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples would be killed by Night Sorrow. In the end, the loss outweighed the gain. Night Sorrow didn't fight with Xian and the other 2 4th-stage Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. He executed the soaring dragon steps and killed the other Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. When Night Sorrow's energy and true chi were fully unleashed, none of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples could withstand 2 moves. They were all killed in the second move. After a few rounds, 7 or 8 people were killed by Night Sorrow. The The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples' faces changed. They had never seen such a ferocious core condensation cultivator. Qindong, you block the front. Xianxia, you go to the side. Qi Xian's eyes were blood red. He chased after Night Sorrow. He hated Night Sorrow's ruthlessness. He didn't show any mercy and killed some of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. Night Sorrow didn't want to fight them head-on. He turned around and continued to chase after the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. This time Night Sorrow was chasing after xianxia. He knew that xianxia was the one who caused all this trouble. xianxia already knew of Night Sorrow's tyranny, so he immediately ran. Night Sorrow pulled out the sky-piercing spear and threw it with all his might. It pierced through xianxia's waist and nailed him to a huge rock. After dodging Qindong's slash, Night Sorrow continued to chase after the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. At this time EU and the others were no longer fighting. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples were in a mess because of Night Sorrow's pursuit. How could they have the energy to fight? They all ran to the side. Night Sorrow knew that the Scarlet Cloud sect had Scarlet Cloud needles. He didn't want to separate from the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. He didn't want to give them a chance to use the needles unless they didn't distinguish between friend and foe. What Night Sorrow didn't know was that the Scarlet Cloud sect's Scarlet Cloud needles were extremely difficult to make. Only the true core disciples or disciples with great potential were qualified to use them. Currently, only Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia were qualified to use them. After Night Sorrow killed 16 or 17 people, the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples ran behind Qi Xian, Qi Zhonglia and Qindong. If they ran away they would be killed by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, Qi Xian, Qi Zhonglia and Qindong were facing each other. Qi Xian reached into his chest. Scarlet Cloud needles? I have one too. Night Sorrow took out the Scarlet Cloud needles he got last time. When Qi Xian touched his chest, Night Sorrow knew what he was going to do. How can you have Scarlet Cloud needles? Qi Xian's expression changed drastically. He looked at Night Sorrow in shock. Don't play dirty with me. Is Scarlet Cloud needles poisonous? Have you heard of bone rot poison? If you dare to use it, I won't hesitate to kill you, Night Sorrow said coldly. Qi Xian, Qindong and Qi Zhonglia looked at each other. Qi Xian took out his hand. Qi Xian held it out with his palm facing up so that Yishang could see it clearly. He knew Yishang's words were not a threat. If you dare to come, then I dare to kill. Unless I fall, I will kill a pair of Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples for every Medicine Valley disciple you kill. Night Sorrow put the Scarlet Cloud needles on his waist. Kill? When Night Sorrow put away the Scarlet Cloud needles, Qi Xian, Qindong, and Qi Zhonglia waved their weapons and charged at Night Sorrow. This was their chance to surround and kill Night Sorrow. E7 Forever XN Forever /FreeV Read_O novel. Night Sorrow took a deep breath. He stomped his feet and jumped into the air. He threw his spear at Qi Xian. Qi Xian's saber slashed horizontally at the reincarnation spear. He did not want to take it head-on. However, if he dodged, Night Sorrow would rush into the crowd of Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples and kill them like a tiger in a flock of sheep. Currently, other than the three of them, no one could stop Night Sorrow's attack. Seeing Qi Xian block with his saber, Night Sorrow increased his vibration force to the maximum. Then he activated his Black Jade Spirit Qi. He wanted to defeat Qi Xian. If Qi Xian blocked him, then he would be surrounded by Qi Xian, Qindong and Qi Zhonglia. The remaining Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples could then kill EU and the others. Bang! With a muffled sound, Qi Xian's saber was knocked away. At the same time, his body was covered in a layer of frost. His eyes were filled with shock. Night Sorrow took a step forward and swung his spear at Qi Xian's neck. At the same time, his left hand slapped at Qindong's saber that was coming at his left shoulder. Chapter 292. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and slashed Qi Xian's throat, who was affected by the mysterious Jade Spirit Qi. His left hand also slapped Qindong's blade. At the same time, Qi Zhonglia's leg also kicked Night Sorrow's waist. Crisp and muffled sounds rang out continuously. Qindong's battle blade was blocked by Yishang's left hand that was wearing the azure claw glove. Qi Zhonglia's kick that landed on Yishang's abdomen seemed to have struck leather. Night Sorrow was pushed back 5 or 6 steps. He circulated the myriad Dao Tome's energy and the pain and discomfort from his abdomen disappeared. This was the power of the myriad Dao Tome. Night Sorrow's flesh, tendons and ribs were all abnormally strengthened. Qi Zhonglia's hurried kick did not cause any damage to Night Sorrow. Qi Xian fell. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. He was already in the 4th rank. His future should be very exciting. How could he die here? Chen Dong and Qi Zhonglia stood next to Qi Xian's corpse. Their eyes were filled with shock. Qi Xian was the strongest among the three of them. But now he was killed. What shocked them was that Night Sorrow, who was kicked, seemed to be fine. Taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow charged toward Qi Zhonglia. His reincarnation spear was like a dragon piercing toward Qi Zhonglia's chest. Qi Zhonglia's body flashed. He dodged to the side of Night Sorrow. His blade slashed toward Night Sorrow's left arm. At this time, Qi Zhonglia did not dare to take Night Sorrow's attack head-on. Qi Xian was an example. Using the soaring dragon steps, Night Sorrow dodged Qi Zhonglia's blade. His reincarnation spear was wide open. He waved his hand and smashed toward Qin Dong. Even Qi Zhonglia retreated. Of course, Qin Dong did not dare to take Night Sorrow's attack head-on. He was afraid that the situation with Qi Xian would happen again. That kind of strange cold air that could freeze people was fatal. After forcing Qin Dong and Qi Zhonglia back, Night Sorrow charged towards the Scarlet Cloud sect disciples behind them and continued his massacre. When Night Sorrow rushed in again, the disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect quickly scattered like birds and beasts. They couldn't understand Night Sorrow's brutality. At this moment, Night Sorrow, whose white robes were stained with blood, was like a god of death. Whoever stood in his way would die. Qi Zhonglia and Qin Dong chased from behind as they shouted for the sect members to retreat. There was no victory to speak of in this battle. Night Sorrow turned around and stabbed his spear towards Qi Zhonglia. At the same time he shouted for Yu and the others to attack. Facing Night Sorrow's fierce spear, Qi Zhonglia's expression changed. He raised his sword to block. Ding! A crisp sound rang out. Qi Zhonglia's sword was knocked away by Night Sorrow. After knocking away Qi Zhonglia's sword, Night Sorrow swung his reincarnation spear towards Qin Dong, who was attacking from the side. At the same time his left hand slapped towards Qi Zhonglia's chest. Qi Zhonglia roared. His left hand punched towards Night Sorrow's left hand. He was afraid of Night Sorrow's spear techniques, but he was not afraid of fist techniques. The moment Qi Zhonglia punched, a faint red energy vortex appeared on Night Sorrow's left hand. Seeing Qi Zhonglia punch, Night Sorrow attacked with all his strength. He used Vajra hand. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. Everything below Qi Zhonglia's left arm disappeared. There was a huge gap between him and Lei Bao. Their true energy levels were not on the same level. He also did not have Lei Bao's battle experience. Therefore, when facing Night Sorrow's Vajra hand, Lei Bao was only slightly injured. Qi Zhonglia had lost an arm. After losing Qi Zhonglia's arm, Night Sorrow decided to first deal with the threat of Qin Dong and then kill Qi Zhonglia. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. When he looked at Qin Dong again, Night Sorrow was surprised. Qin Dong had stopped fighting. He turned around and ran. He actually abandoned Qi Zhonglia and ran. He also did not care about the other disciples who were being attacked by Yu and the others. He directly ran towards the forest in the distance. Love Gon Little Say, Network. Night Sorrow turned around and continued to violently attack with 3 spear attacks. He killed Qi Zhonglia, who had lost an arm. Qi Zhonglia died very sullenly. In the end he wanted to use Scarlet Cloud Needles, but he did not have the chance. Night Sorrow attacked again and again. His right hand was holding onto his sword to block, so he did not have the chance to use Scarlet Cloud Needles. After killing Qi Zhonglia, Yishang glanced at the battle situation. The Medicine Valley disciples led by Yu already had the absolute advantage. The main reason was that the Scarlet Cloud sect disciples had already lost their momentum after being killed by Yishang. At this moment Yishang felt powerless. After the battle began, Night Sorrow attacked with all his might. He always pursued the highest damage. Although he was not injured, he was very tired. Soon the battle was over. The Scarlet Cloud sect disciples all ran away. A crazy Night Sorrow was unbeatable to them. If Night Sorrow did not fall, then they had no chance of winning. The strongest Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia had been killed. Qin Dong had run away. What could they, who had not reached rank 4, do? After the battle was over, Yu and the others cleaned up the battlefield. Then they came to Night Sorrow and placed 2 storage rings, a pile of beast-taming crystals, and some storage belts in front of Night Sorrow. Thank you. Yu bowed. He knew that without Night Sorrow, the Scarlet Cloud sect would have slaughtered the Medicine Valley disciples. Night Sorrow raised his head. You can divide them among yourselves. Martial uncle, are you alright? Seeing Night Sorrow's pale face, Gu Lin asked worriedly. I'm fine. I just used up a lot of energy. Night Sorrow waved his hand. Night Sorrow, actually I should call you junior brother. You earned these resources. We just shouted loudly and didn't do anything. You can keep them. Yu said. Yu's master was an elder of Wuwei Peak. He was from the same generation as Jianghu. Since Yu joined the sect earlier than Night Sorrow, he was the senior brother. Senior brother Yu distribute the spoils to everyone. Also, everyone should take the time to rest. This is only the Scarlet Cloud sect. We don't know if there will be other forces coming. If you feel that you can't hold on any longer, leave. The battle might have just begun, Yishan said. Yu looked at the resources at his feet and picked up a pile of storage belts. Let's divide these. Martial uncle, you must keep the rest. Night Sorrow nodded as he looked at the group of Medicine Valley disciples. Haha. If you follow Martial Uncle Yi, you'll be able to eat and drink well, Gu Lin said with a smile. Martial Uncle Knight, I'm sorry. Our Tianyue Peak has caused trouble for you. A Tianyue Peak disciple stepped forward. He was one of the people caught by Lei Bao. Lin Tianjue is Lin Tianjue. This has nothing to do with Tianyue Peak. You are a good disciple of Medicine Valley for staying and fighting. What's your name? Night Sorrow asked. Martial Uncle, my name is Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan bowed. You know what happened. When you return, explain to Peak Master Jin and senior brother Luo Daoyuan that Lin Tianjue was killed by Lei Bao. Even if Lei Bao didn't kill him, I wouldn't have kept him alive. Night Sorrow said. I understand. Xuanhuan nodded and left. Chapter 293. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go Divided by Xiao? We provide you with interesting novels to read. On the other side, EU asked Gu Lin to report the battle to the Great Elder. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs. After Gu Lin returned, he informed Night Sorrow, the Great Elder, the Valley Master, and the others to let Night Sorrow go out. Night Sorrow didn't have time to change his clothes, so he didn't care about etiquette. He walked out of the passageway in his blood-stained battle robe. Many people gathered at the passageway. Jianghu and the people from Taishan Peak were all there. Night Sorrow, are you hurt? Sikong Chuyu ran to Night Sorrow and held his hand, looking him up and down nervously. No, it's all other people's blood, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Are you really okay? Yang Lei also walked to Night Sorrow and asked. Ninth senior sister, I'm really okay. Night Sorrow turned his body to show Yang Lei that he wasn't hurt. 13, can you still hold on? If you can't, then retreat. There aren't many disciples from Medicine Valley who haven't returned, the Great Elder said. Not bad. You've done very well. You can choose to come back, Yang said. There are still disciples from Medicine Valley who haven't returned. If we retreat, we'll be abandoning them. They'll be disappointed, Night Sorrow said. Yang, the Great Elder, and the others nodded. They all knew that Night Sorrow and the others were abandoning some disciples if they retreated. Ninth senior sister, here are some beast-taming crystals. Take them back and distribute them to the disciples of Taishan Peak. Night Sorrow took out a handful of beast-taming crystals. There were at least 20 of them and he gave them to Yang Lei. Okay. Yang Lei was not pretentious. She knew that Night Sorrow did not need this. Chuyu, don't worry. I'm fine. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chuyu, whose eyes were filled with worry. Then go. I'll wait for you here. Sikong Chuyu nodded. Night Sorrow nodded and returned to the spatial tunnel. With a core condensation cultivation base, he killed 2 severed divinity cultivators and more than 20 late core condensation cultivators. This battle record will forever be recorded in the annals of history. Yi Xiling from Crepe Myrtle said. Her eyes were filled with regret because Night Sorrow was not a disciple of Crepe Myrtle. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs.com. The other peak masters who arrived also looked at Gong Xian and Yang Lei with envy. After returning to the void space, Night Sorrow looked at the female disciples of Crepe Myrtle and rode Qianyu to find a water source to wash up. After changing into a clean robe, he went to the entrance of the spatial tunnel. The entrance of the spatial tunnel was very lively. Some people were roasting prey, some people even took out wine. Seeing Night Sorrow come back, everyone greeted him. Night Sorrow nodded and found a place to sit down. Next there will be a month of danger. Red Cloud sect was the first to receive the news. They can gather some disciples. The other sects will receive the news later and come to find trouble with us. Plus, they might not have enough time to go back. If they don't gather enough people, they won't dare to block our path. EU said. In other words, if we guard this place for another month and there are no problems, then there will be no problems at all? Jianghan asked. That should be the case. Night Sorrow nodded and took the roasted meat from a female disciple of Crepe Myrtle. After eating and drinking except for those on duty, everyone sat down to cultivate. Night Sorrow checked xianxia and xianxian's storage rings and found that their collection was quite rich. There were also some new resources, spiritual herbs and 2 red cloud needles. Xianxian's storage ring also had a green organ. Night Sorrow could feel that this was not simple, but there was no such or in the Fey encyclopedia. After tidying up his things, Yishang sat down to cultivate. Time passed slowly, and some of the disciples of Medicine Valley also returned. When they found out that Night Sorrow and the others were guarding the path and had a big battle with the Red Cloud sect, they were willing to share some of their loot, but no one took it. 5 days later, the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling sect came. It was a man in black with less than 20 people. Wait. Seeing that the disciples of Medicine Valley were about to fight, the leading man in black waved his hand. What do you want to say? Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward with the reincarnation spear. If we fight as a group, both sides will suffer. It won't be good for either side. You should be Night Sorrow. I heard that you killed Xian and Zhonglia from the Red Cloud sect. Let's fight one-on-one. The man in black looked at Night Sorrow and said, Sure. I want to ask, where did you get the news? Night Sorrow asked. The man in black glanced at the disciples of Medicine Valley who were full of fighting spirit and said, Someone from the same sect. You also met the disciples of the Red Cloud sect. It seems like you are prepared. If you want to fight with me, then there should be a bet. Say it. Night Sorrow waved the reincarnation spear and said. He felt that the people of the Thunder Rumbling sect were overbearing, but they were very direct. Lei Bao was like that, and so was this young man in black. I heard that you got a treasure on the Lonely Peak. This is an opportunity. However, the opportunity is in your hands now. If you lose, take out half of the opportunity and I will leave. If I lose, then I have never thought about it. The man in black hesitated and said, If you lose, you can leave. In addition, if you meet the disciples of the Medicine Valley in this space, don't make it difficult for them. Night Sorrow said, Okay. My name is Lei Zheng. I won't take advantage of you. This tranquil heart stone and my Thunderbird mount are yours if you win. Also listen carefully. If I, Lei Zheng, lose in this space, if you see the disciples of the Medicine Valley, you must stay away. The young man in black, who was Lei Zheng, waved the broadsword in his hand and said. Night Sorrow waved his hand and asked the disciples of the Medicine Valley to retreat. Then he gestured to Lei Zheng. Lei Zheng leaped up and waved the broadsword in his right hand, facing Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understood that the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling sect fought in a direct confrontation. Their weapons were also broadswords and heavy swords. Without hesitation, Night Sorrow thrust his reincarnation spear forward. At the same time, he also used the vibration force. Ding. When the weapons collided, Night Sorrow retreated 2 steps while Lei Zheng retreated 4 to 5 steps. Night Sorrow squinted his eyes and looked at Lei Zheng. He realized that Lei Zheng's true qi exerting method was different from Lei Bao's. It was a technique that was soft first and then violent. Very strong. Again. Lei Zheng glanced at Night Sorrow and attacked again. Night Sorrow used the vibration force and waved his reincarnation spear to attack. Every time he attacked, he would force Lei Ming to retreat a few steps, completely suppressing him. The 2 of them attacked each other, one advancing and one retreating. Although Lei Zheng couldn't restrain Night Sorrow's vibration force, Night Sorrow couldn't defeat Lei Zheng with the vibration force. Watch my purple thunder sword art. Lei Zheng roared. Purple energy appeared on his broadsword and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Knowing that this was Lei Zheng's ultimate move, Night Sorrow instantly activated the profound jade spirit chi hidden in his hands. Bang! When the weapons collided, Night Sorrow retreated 4 steps. His arms were numb as if he was struck by lightning. Lei Zheng was in an even worse state. His entire body was covered in frost. Night Sorrow's bone-forging realm level 6 energy burst forth from the myriad Dao tome. After dispelling the numbness, he used the soaring dragon steps and instantly rushed in front of Lei Zheng. Before Lei Zheng could react, the reincarnation spear was placed on his neck. I lost. Lei Ming said as he wiped the frost off his hair and face. X forever free. Read * novel *. Just like Lei Bao, you are a real man. You can afford to lose. Night Sorrow said as he retreated a few steps. Chapter 294. Genius remembers love in 1 second / small? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Why do you say that? Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. I'm not Brother Bao's opponent. Knowing that you defeated Brother Bao, I won't come. The news is really deceiving. Lei Zheng was depressed. Ignoring the value of the Tranquil Heart Stone, he couldn't bear to part with his Thunderbird. The Thunderbird was an intelligent flying beast at the peak of the 3rd rank. Most importantly, it had been with him for a long time. You didn't ask me. Yishang was speechless. This disciple of the thunder-rumbling sect was really straightforward. Lei Jing took out the beast-taming crystal. His eyes were full of reluctance, but he still put it beside the tranquil heart stone and took a few steps back. It's all yours. Night Sorrow stepped forward and put away the tranquil heart stone. After looking at the beast-taming crystal for a while, he threw it to Lei Jing, whose eyes never left the crystal. I told Lei Bao that we will be friends when we meet again. You call him Brother Bao, so it's obviously not nice of me to take you as my mount. After catching the beast-taming crystal, Lei Jing's face was full of joy. We will also be friends in the future. As long as you, Night Sorrow, come to the Thunder Clan, you will be my most distinguished guest. Okay, if you come to the Medicine Valley, don't forget to look for me. I will treat you with good wine and meat. Night Sorrow nodded. Lei Jing cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow and then turned around. Brothers, let's go. We can't beat them and almost suffered a double loss. Let's go take care of others. The thunder-rumbling sect's disciples followed Lei Jing. Some of them even cupped their hands towards Yishang. Damn, the Thunder Clan disciples are too cute. Lei Jing is so handsome. He's a real man. Crepe Myrtle disciple Li Lin said. This is because we have strength. If we don't have strength, we will be bullied to death. Handsome real man? That depends on Martial Uncle Yi. Gu Lin said. But I heard that Martial Uncle Night Sorrow already has someone in his heart. Even Martial Uncle Lin Jingyi doesn't have a chance. Li Lin glanced at Night Sorrow and said. The dispute between Night Sorrow and Crepe Myrtle was no longer a secret. Everyone in Medicine Valley knew about it. Gu Lin shook his head helplessly. He could not answer this question. In the following days, the entrance of Medicine Valley was quiet. What Night Sorrow did not know was that Lei Jing had helped him fend off a wave of enemies. When Lei Jing and the others were some distance away from the entrance of the Medicine Valley, they met a group of disciples of the Golden Flame sect, led by Su Wang and xuanhuan, who were approaching the entrance of the Medicine Valley. With one look, Lei Jing knew what was going on. Love Gong Little Sake, thinking that Night Sorrow did not want his Thunderbird, Lei Jing decided to do Night Sorrow a favor. He directly defeated Su Wang and the others, severely injuring the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Lei Jing lost to Night Sorrow because his dual polarity force was restrained by Night Sorrow's vibration scripture. However, it was not a problem for him to deal with Su Wang and the others. The disciples of the Thunder Clan were also very united and had strong combat power. After a chaotic battle, Lei Jing severely injured Su Wang and forced him to retreat. He also confiscated the resources of the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Haha, a person should be loyal. Good intentions will be rewarded. After the brothers divide, let's continue to rob. There will be a lot of fat sheep coming to the Medicine Valley. Lei Jing was in a particularly good mood. Brother Jing, speaking of which, we have to thank Lei Jing. If he didn't tell us this news, we wouldn't know what happened here, a disciple of the Thunder Clan said. Bullsh*T. This time I was almost killed by him. He knew that Brother Bao was defeated, but he still made this news. Isn't he trying to scam me? But it's also true. If he said it, Brother Bao would lose face. Let's not talk about it. Let's continue to look for fat sheep. Lei Jing was in high spirits. The income from robbing was much better than looking for resources by himself. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. After quietly waiting at the entrance of the passage for a month without any battles, Night Sorrow EU, and the others discussed and decided that there was no need for them to stay here any longer. They could do whatever they needed to do because the people from the other regions wouldn't come over anymore. That way they wouldn't have enough time to return. Many people had gone to look for resources. Night Sorrow pondered for a while before leaving the void fiendish space. He did not want to waste any more time. He did not believe that there would be any great opportunities. After all, even the space origin pearl was in his dantian. Even if there were opportunities left, they would be small opportunities. Only a few disciples of the Medicine Valley chose to go out. The others still had to look for opportunities. Sucked knowing that Night Sorrow didn't want to stay in the void fiendish space any longer, the first elder was a bit unwilling. They had survived the danger and there was no more danger, but Night Sorrow still wanted to come out. Great Elder, this depends on the individual's wishes. If 13 is unwilling, then don't force him. He also needs to prepare to advance to the spirit-severing stage. Lu Qinyun said with a smile. He was extremely satisfied with Night Sorrow's performance this time because Night Sorrow had fought to the end for the disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow took out the green ore he had stolen from Qi Xian and gave it to Big Elder, Yu Yangyu, and the others to identify. The higher-ups present all looked at it, but they couldn't recognize what ore it was. However, they all felt that it wasn't normal. Then Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Xikong Qiu left. The relationship between the three of them was not a secret in the Medicine Valley. Many people were envious of them. There was no need to talk about Xikong Qiu. She was agile and refined like a fairy. It was fate that brought Xikong Qiu and Yi Shang together. No one could be envious of them. But what about Yang Lei? She was the one that many second-generation disciples of the Medicine Valley had been thinking about. Unexpectedly, Night Sorrow also got her. This was puzzling. Great Elder, what do you think of Lin Tianjue? After Night Sorrow left, Yu Yangyu looked at Big Elder. This is the fault of Tianyue Peak's Elder Lin and Luo Daoyuan. But he is already dead, so forget it. Big Elder sighed with some disappointment. This time, Lin Tianjue really made the Medicine Valley lose face and almost brought a disaster to the disciples of the Medicine Valley in the alternate dimension. If it wasn't for Night Sorrow's efforts to turn the tide, the Medicine Valley would have suffered heavy losses. It could even be said that there would be a generation gap. If all the outstanding disciples of the core condensation realm were killed, then the Medicine Valley would have lost a generation in the future. I won't pursue this matter. Tell Tianyue Peak's Elder Lin, Luo Daoyuan, and the others that if anyone dares to vent their anger on Night Sorrow because of Lin Tianjue, I won't be lenient. Yu Yangyu said and left. Gong Xian looked at Big Elder and Fourth Elder, then left with the people of Taishan Peak. The Valley Master's temper has become more restrained. This is the blessing of Tianyue Peak. Big Elder, you should arrange it well. If Elder Lin, Peak Master Jin, or Luo Daoyuan do anything bad, then it will be a big trouble for the Medicine Valley. At that time, even if the Valley Master doesn't say anything, the Taishan Peak won't let it go. Lu Qinyun said. Then, Fourth Elder and the other elders will look after this place. I will go to Tianyue Peak. Big Elder said to the others, then got up and left. This matter was very big. Yu Yangyu showed mercy. As the Big Elder, he had to deal with it well. Otherwise, this matter would be the fuse for the outbreak of conflicts. When Big Elder arrived at Tianyue Peak, he saw Jin Kan and two other elders of Tianyue Peak in the Tianyue Hall. Seeing the arrival of Big Elder, Jin Kan and the others all got up and saluted, then let Big Elder sit in the main seat. As the Big Elder, I have something to deal with. Invite Elder Lin and Luo Daoyuan here. Big Elder sat down and said while tapping his crutch on the ground. Chapter 295. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? xuanhuan provides you with wonderful novels to read. #C, the only version #his, x him. All, pirated, what do you mean? Don't you know your mistake? The Great Elder tapped the ground with his walking stick. Suddenly, a spider web appeared on the hard stone floor of the Tianyue Hall. It was obvious that the Great Elder was angry. Great Elder, please don't misunderstand. Elder Lin felt guilty towards the sect and went to the Cliff of Reflection to reflect. Luo Daoyuan also wanted to go there, but I didn't agree because there were still many things to deal with in the Tianyue Peak. Jin Kan quickly explained. Let's not talk about Elder Lin. It's good that Luo Daoyuan has such thoughts. It shows that he knows his mistake, so I won't pursue it. If the Tianyue Peak makes things difficult for Night Sorrow because of Lin Tianjue, you know the consequences. At that time, no one will be able to stop the Valley Master's anger. The Great Elder said. Great Elder, don't worry. Everyone knows that Lin Tianjue deserved to die. No one blamed Night Sorrow. In fact, we are grateful that he saved the other Tianyue Peak disciples. Jin Kan bowed. It's good that you know. I'm just reminding you. The Great Elder stood up and left the Tianyue Hall. He felt a little better after seeing the Tianyue Peak's attitude. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Xikong Qiu returned to the Bamboo Forest Peak. Xikong Qiu brewed a pot of tea after returning to the Bamboo Forest Peak. You must be tired out during this period of time. No, I just fought a few battles. However, I also gained a lot. Some problems can also be solved. Night Sorrow said. He was talking about the origin stone. Night Sorrow then took out his gains and organized them. Seeing Night Sorrow take out several storage rings, Yang Lei and Xikong Qiu were shocked. They knew that this was the result of Night Sorrow's robbery. Ninth senior sister, who else doesn't have a storage ring? Night Sorrow asked. Eldest senior brother, second senior brother, and third senior brother have it. Sixth senior sister and I also have it. The others don't have it, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow took out the two he had stolen from Lone Peak, the two he had taken from Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia, and Su Chenbai's storage ring. Of course he took out all his resources. Here are 5 storage rings. I'll send them to the other senior brothers later, Night Sorrow said. You rascal, keep one for yourself. Otherwise, you won't have enough in case of an emergency, Yang Lei said. I still have more. Night Sorrow smiled. He had Feng Chen's storage ring and Lu Shan's. Both of their storage rings had a lot of space, much more than the storage rings they had robbed. Night Sorrow organized the spirit herbs, spirit medicines, and ores. Yang Lei and Xikong Qiu were dazzled. There were too many level 4 and level 5 spirit herbs. There were even level 6 spirit herbs. There were also many rare ores. 13, you're rich this time. Yang Lei was so excited that her face turned red. Ninth senior sister, these aren't my biggest gains. The 3 of us are going to be a family in the future. Let me show you the real gains. Night Sorrow took out the top-grade spirit stones and high-grade spirit stones. The bamboo building's living room was filled with the light of crystals. There were hundreds of top-grade spirit stones and thousands of high-grade spirit stones. How is this possible? Yang Lei was a little confused. Even the super forces might not have so many in stock. Night Sorrow, you have too much capital. Xikong Qiu was also astonished when he saw the crystals. You too, quickly keep some of them. Both of you have advanced to the 5th grade. You can use high-grade spirit stones to cultivate. Night Sorrow urged Yang Lei and Xikong Qiu. All right. Will be yours sooner or later. Just take it as a betrothal gift. Yang Lei blushed and took 100 high-grade spirit stones. Xikong Qiu also felt a little embarrassed after hearing Yang Lei's words. However, he also took 100 high-grade spirit stones. She had advanced to the 5th grade a month ago and was currently the youngest Void Inquiry stage cultivator in this area. Night Sorrow kept the remaining spirit stones into his storage ring. Come, let's admire some good stuff. I'll share some with you. Night Sorrow took out the spiritual spring liquid and opened the jar. This is much denser than the spiritual liquid in the medicinal cauldron. He actually used a wine jar to store it? Yang Lei was a little speechless. Night Sorrow's actions had subverted her beliefs. Store some for each of you. Tomorrow give some to senior brothers and sisters too. Night Sorrow said. You have to keep enough for yourself. Just give some to each of you. Yang Lei was thinking for Night Sorrow's sake. She also helped Night Sorrow to store more than 10 small bottles of origin spiritual liquid. After that, Night Sorrow gave Yang Lei and Xikong Qiu 2 bottles each. Ninth senior sister, Qiu, if you need any spirit stones or spiritual liquid in the future, just call me. Night Sorrow filled a few small bottles of origin spiritual liquid as backup. Only then did he keep the remaining half of the jar. He still had another full jar. We won't stand on ceremony with you. When we have time, we'll get a jade jar to store it. Yang Lei said. I have something else to ask you. Do you know what attributes there are in heaven and earth? Night Sorrow asked. Earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, light, and darkness. These are the 7 most common attributes. The rare and high-grade attributes are life, death, space, and time. The top-grade attributes are destruction, void, and so on. Of course, there is a possibility for the attributes to evolve. The earth attribute can evolve into gravity and space. If it continues to evolve, it will become the space attribute. The water attribute can evolve into the life attribute, while the darkness attribute can evolve into the death attribute. These are all recorded in the ancient books. Xikong Qiu said. I obtained an origin stone this time. Ninth senior sister doesn't have one that matches your attribute. Qiu has one that matches your attribute, but I can't give it to you for the time being. I promised someone that I would lend it to them for a period of time. Night Sorrow said. What did you say? You obtained an origin stone? Xikong Qiu wasn't the only one who stood up. Yang Lei was also excited. Sit down. Sit down. Night Sorrow pushed Yang Lei and Xikong Qiu into chairs. Then he took out the fire and water attribute origin stones. When he opened the jade box, a rich energy fluctuation was produced. Xikong Qiu reached out and closed the box. Night Sorrow, this is a great opportunity, but it's also a disaster. If this were to spread, it would cause a chaotic war in the 9 regions. This is because source stones are the best medium for venerables to break through to the Saint Realm. I know. I will only tell the 2 of you. Night Sorrow said. Who do you want to lend the origin stone to? Xikong Qiu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. First of all, it is a senior from the Ice Snow Mountain in the Far East Icefield. I promised her. She said that she would only lend it to me. In addition, she is willing to give me a spirit weapon as the price. I don't care about the spirit weapon, but since I promised her, I will do my best. Night Sorrow said. A peerless expert from a forbidden land. It seems that the rumors are not true. Such a person wouldn't kill for the treasure. Xianxia nodded. Chapter 296. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That shouldn't be a problem either. Xianxia said to Yishan. Let's go, said Xianxia to Yishan. Let's not talk about the fire-type origin stone for now. There is another piece. Take a look at its attribute. Knight Sorrow put away the fire-type origin stone. He then brought out the killing energy origin bead. When the box was opened, a dense baleful aura and blood-red energy appeared in the bamboo building. After Xianxia and Yang Lei felt it, Xianxia reached out and closed the box. This is beyond the concept of origin stones. Could it be spatial origin? Xianxia was a little surprised as he looked at Knight Sorrow in disbelief. Most are new chapter E above. That's right. It's one of the space origins, but I don't know what attribute it is, Knight Sorrow said. There is a trace of destructive aura mixed with a very strong baleful aura. Could it be that you have entered a space of destruction? Xianxia said with some uncertainty. She had read a lot of classics and was better than Yang Lei in this aspect. It's not the destruction space. In fact, this isn't the real space origin. It's just a subsidiary. The real space origin is with me. Knight Sorrow smiled bitterly and pointed at his stomach. What do you mean? Yang Lei asked. Knight Sorrow then told him what happened after he went to Lonely Peak. You're taking too much risk. Fortunately, such supreme treasures have their own spirituality. If you are not the chosen one, you will not be able to obtain the space origin. A single energy attack from the space origin can destroy you, the Xianxia said. Chiyu, do you mean that the void space origin bead will not harm 13? Yang Lei asked worriedly. If you want to hurt him, you should have blown up Knight Sorrow back then. Entering his body is also a form of recognition, Xianxia said. Then it's fine. However, I don't feel that its existence is of any help to me, Knight Sorrow said. You currently don't have the ability to recognize a master. If you can, then you will be the master of that space, the master of that space. On the day you truly control the space origin bead, the entire space will be your private territory. Xianxia threw out words that shocked Yang Lei and Xianxia. Is it that serious? Yang Lei couldn't believe her ears. Of course. So, don't mention this matter in the future. Just pretend that it never happened. Knight Sorrow, the treasures on you now are enough for the experts of the 9 zones to kill you hundreds of times. Xianxia said. Then it's settled. 13. Don't tell anyone about the origin bead and origin stone. Don't even tell Master and the Great Elder. After all, they are still far away from the Sage Realm. Yang Lei made the decision for Knight Sorrow. All right. I'll listen to everything you say. Knight Sorrow nodded. After packing up, the 3 of them slowly drank tea. 13. You scared me to death. I can't even calm down now, Yang Lei said as she patted her chest. Indeed, Knight Sorrow, the things you got this time are truly frightening. My heart is also thumping. Love go little say, Xianxia said. It's a water origin stone. I'll give it to Chuyu after I finish using it. Ninth senior sister, I'm sorry about this, Knight Sorrow said apologetically. What are you saying, you bastard? Aren't we family? Yang Lei looked at Knight Sorrow grumpily. After eating, the 3 of them rested. Yang Lei and Xianxia didn't let Knight Sorrow continue cultivating. They watched Knight Sorrow sleep. The next day, Mo Qin and Chu Lingfei came to call Knight Sorrow because the senior brothers and sisters were going to have a gathering. Knight Sorrow, Chu Lingfei followed Mo Qin to the Bamboo Grove. Always Bamboo Grove was the gathering place for Yu Yangyu's disciples on Taishan Peak. This time, everyone was present. Alway also took out the green carrot leopard bone wine. After drinking the wine, Knight Sorrow took out the gifts he had prepared for his senior brothers and sisters. Each of them received a bottle of spiritual liquid of origin and 10 top-grade spirit stones. 13. You're rich. Mo Qin said as he opened the bottle of spiritual liquid of origin. I forgot about Sister Lingfei's share. 10 top-grade spirit stones. Second senior brother, 8th senior brother, and sister-in-law all have a share. Knight Sorrow pushed the 10 top-grade spirit stones in front of Chu Lingfei. Then he took out 20 top-grade spirit stones and handed them to Wu Qi and Shi Tianlin. Other than the newly married Mo Qin, only Wu Qi and Shi Tianlin were married among Yu Yangyu's disciples. However, their wives didn't attend the gathering. After Mo Qin got married, he and Chu Lingfei lived together, so he came to the gathering. 9th junior sister, you have to keep an eye on 13. How many resources do you have to squander like this? Gong Xian looked at Yang Lei and said. This was decided by the 3 of us. Yang Lei said with a smile. As for the other things, Night Sorrow didn't tell everyone. Yang Lei also didn't let Night Sorrow talk about the elixirs. Although Aoi was studying alchemy, it wasn't appropriate to give it to Aoi. After the gathering, Night Sorrow said goodbye to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and went to Danding Cliff to cultivate. He was now at the middle stage of the 9th level of the core condensation realm. He wanted to raise his cultivation to the peak of the core condensation realm and then stabilize his cultivation to prepare for entering the spirit severing realm. The higher the cultivation level, the more energy was needed to raise the cultivation level. This was also the reason why it was difficult for high-level cultivators to raise their cultivation level. Night Sorrow rushed to 5,800 meters before he felt that the pressure was suitable for him. He could still continue, but he didn't think it was necessary. This place was very suitable for cultivating. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow's cultivation level rapidly increased. He didn't know that the Eastern Profound Domain now knew the name Night Sorrow. As the people who entered the void fiendish space left, Night Sorrow's deeds and achievements spread. The Scarlet Cloud sect was the most infuriated because too many of their disciples had died at Yishang's hands. Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia were direct disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect. They had great potential and were worth cultivating. However, they were killed by Night Sorrow. In addition, Night Sorrow also killed more than 20 disciples at the peak of the core condensation realm. They were all good seedlings of this generation of the Scarlet Cloud sect. Night Sorrow's deeds were not only spread to the Scarlet Cloud sect, but also to the Holy Light Temple and the Southern Dipper sect. Although they didn't have any contact with Night Sorrow, they had fought with the people of the Scarlet Cloud sect and the Thunder Rumbling sect. Some of them even became friends. Naturally, they knew this news. The 7 superpowers of the Eastern Profound Domain also knew that the Medicine Valley of the Golden Flame sect was the biggest winner in the opening of the alternate space. A young man named Night Sorrow was the biggest winner. At the same time, they also knew about Night Sorrow's greatness. He fought against 3 severed divinity stage and dozens of core condensation realm cultivators alone. He killed 2 severed divinity stage cultivators and more than 20 peak core condensation realm cultivators. No one could surpass this record. On the top floor of the Tianji Tower in the Eastern Profound City, several people sat together and chatted. Supervisor Lon, Night Sorrow is not bad, right? He challenged dozens of people alone, killed 2 severed divinity stage cultivators, killed 1, and more than 20 core condensation realm cultivators. Isn't he worthy of the 2 stars? Lei Hua said with a smile. Chapter 297. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What if he enters the divinity severing stage? Should we report it to the higher-ups directly? Xuanhuan asked. If he can enter the divinity severing stage in 2 years, report it to the higher-ups. Such a talent can no longer be measured by ordinary standards. Focus on protecting him. This is an opportunity for your Eastern Profound Domain branch to gain face, Lan Yuxuan said. Okay, this guy should have no problem entering the divinity severing stage in 2 years, Lei Hua said. He had confidence in Night Sorrow. In addition, I'm going to the Medicine Valley, Lan Yuxuan said. Then I'll accompany you there, Yin Shui said. Okay, if there are some things that have good results, I need your cooperation. Lan Yuxuan nodded. Night Sorrow stayed at Danding Cliff and cultivated for more than 20 days. He raised his cultivation to the peak of the core formation stage before leaving Danding Cliff and returning to the bamboo forest peak. Yishang's cultivation was already saturated. What he needed now was to stabilize his cultivation and increase the cultivation of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome. Currently, he still had a lot of dragon bone forging pills, enough for him to reach the 4th stage of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome, the Consolidation Realm. Night Sorrow's days were very free and easy. His relationship with Yang Lei and Sikong Chu was also warming up. Love go little say ko forever. Long time % free to read 6Y novels. Disciples of the Medicine Valley often came to drink with Night Sorrow. In the past it was only the Yuan roll. Now both the Yuan roll and the elixir roll came. Night Sorrow didn't look down on anyone just because his cultivation was high. He thought that people who hit it off were friends. Night Sorrow took time to visit Qinzhen. He left Tiger Eagle in Qinzhen and left his remaining medicinal cauldron spiritual liquid to Qinzhen. Qinzhen also worked hard. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 8th level of the gathering element and he had entered the top 20 of the Yuan roll. Nothing much happened. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu returned to Danding City. He did not go to Tianji Tower. If Tianji Tower hadn't asked, Night Sorrow wouldn't have lent the water origin stone to Tianji Tower. However, things were different from what he thought. On the third day after Night Sorrow returned to the Dragon Spring courtyard, Enforcer Dong came to the Dragon Spring courtyard and said that someone wanted to see him. Night Sorrow immediately knew what was going on. It was either Lan Yuxuan or Yin Shui. Night Sorrow couldn't refuse such a meeting, so he directly followed Enforcer Dong to Tianji Tower. In the room on the top floor of Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw Lan Yuxuan wearing a silver mask and Yin Shui taking off her mask. "Sit down. Let's have a chat," Lan Yuxuan said. Yishang nodded and sat down opposite the two of them. At the peak of the core condensation stage, your body's qi and blood are at the peak. If you can continue to improve, it won't take long for you to reach the level of essence qi smoke. In the 9 regions, there are people who cultivate their body, but their true qi attainment is not high. Only those who are over 100 years old can reach the level of essence qi smoke, and it's very rare. Yin Shui said. "Thank you for your praise, Chief Enforcer. This is also the reason why Tianji Tower is cultivating me," Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow casually chatted with Yin Shui, not talking about the alternate dimension. After half a quarter of an hour, Yin Shui looked at Lan Yuxuan helplessly. Because they didn't mention it, Night Sorrow didn't want to talk about it. Lan Yuxuan coughed twice. "You have a good harvest in the alternate dimension, right? It's not bad. It's not easy to snatch food from the tiger's mouth and fight with the Thunder Rumbling sect and Red Cloud sect." Night Sorrow said with a smile. "What about the Heaven's Mandate Stone?" Lan Yuxuan asked. She could see that Night Sorrow was very calm. If she didn't mention it, Night Sorrow wouldn't mention it. "Well, since the supervisor mentioned it, then let's talk about it." Night Sorrow didn't avoid the question since Lan Yuxuan mentioned it. "Seems that you really got it. Tianji Tower is willing to exchange it for anything you want." Lan Yuxuan was extremely shocked. She just wanted to give it a try. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to really have it. "The Heaven's Mandate Stone is priceless, I won't exchange it." Night Sorrow directly refused Lan Yuxuan's statement. Night Sorrow wanted to lend the Water Attribute Stone to Wu Lingfei. In the end, the Water Attribute Stone would belong to Sikong Chuyu. "You're right. The Heaven's Mandate Stone is priceless. If you borrow it for half a year, you'll get a spirit tool," Lan Yuxuan said. "I'll tell you what I want first. If you can accept it, then we can talk. I've promised someone to borrow the Water Attribute Stone first. She can borrow it without any harm. After that, we can carry out the transaction." Night Sorrow said. "No, absolutely not. Do you know the value of the Heaven's Mandate Stone? It's priceless. Even if Tianji Tower doesn't lend it to you, you can't lend it to others. It's a disaster." Lan Yuxuan slammed the table and said. "But I've promised her. I can't go back on my words," Night Sorrow said. At the same time, he knew that Lan Yuxuan was doing it for his own good. He also showed the generosity of Tianji Tower. "Night Sorrow, tell us what's going on first. Our Tianji Tower will only protect the core members. We don't have any malicious intentions." Yin Shui knew that the problem was serious. Only by understanding the whole story and the root of the problem could they solve it. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything and told her about the eastern snow mountain in the far east ice field. "First of all, I've promised her. Also, I'm from the Eastern Shen domain. I have to think for the Eastern Shen domain. After all, she's one of the top fighters in the Eastern Shen domain." "I see. I understand. I won't object," Lan Yuxuan said. "Thank you for your help. After this matter is resolved, you can take the Water Attribute Stone for half a year. As for the reward, although I want it, I'm also a member of Tianji Tower. I should do something for the Tianji Tower," Night Sorrow said. He felt that he owed Tianji Tower, so he didn't want to ask for anything. "You can keep the Water Attribute Stone. Tianji Tower doesn't need it urgently. How about this? Tianji Tower will owe you a request no higher than a spirit-grade stone. When you need the Destiny Stone, Tianji Tower will lend it to you for half a year." Lan Yuxuan made her decision. "I'll keep it. Aren't you afraid that I'll be killed and the Destiny Stone stolen?" Night Sorrow couldn't understand Tianji Tower's way of doing things. I'm not worried. Tianji Tower won't do anything to its own people. However, if someone kills you, we'll avenge you. Once we kill them, we'll get the Destiny Stone back. There's no need to pay any price." Lan Yuxuan's voice carried a hint of laughter. Lan Yuxuan's words stunned Night Sorrow. "This idea? This method? Simple and crude. But don't worry. You're a seedling that Tianji Tower has focused on nurturing. They won't let anyone touch you easily." Lan Yuxuan seemed to have guessed Night Sorrow's thoughts. "I'd better hurry up and enter rank 4. Then I'll find a place where there's no one and become a patrol," Night Sorrow said with some hesitation. "That's fine. However, you don't have to worry about Tianji Tower's rule of having a patrol every 5 years. You can follow your own path. Your treatment won't change. Your status will exceed that of a patrol, Lan Yuxuan said. Chapter 298. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by shao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's right. If you perform well, Tianji Tower will take special care of you. You don't have to serve as a mandatory patrol every 5 years, but you have the right to do so. Love divided by go divided by shao. Say www.ichux.com, Lan Yuxuan said. Then Night Sorrow is here. Thank you for your care. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Lan Yuxuan and Yin Shui. I want to thank you. You have made our Eastern Xian region's celestial peak Imperial Tower proud in front of the headquarters, Yin Shui said with a smile. You're too polite, Lord Protector. Night Sorrow bowed again. If you need anything, just tell us. Tianji Tower won't be stingy if we can help you. Love Gong Shao Se Lan Yuxuan said. Thank you again, lords, but I don't need it. Night Sorrow shook his head. He really didn't need anything. He had resources, but spiritual weapons weren't something that could be given out just because he needed them. Besides, he firmly believed that a man without desires would be strong. After chatting with Lan Yuxuan and Yin Shui for a while, Night Sorrow left. The discussion was quite pleasant. After watching Night Sorrow leave, Lan Yuxuan returned to her seat. This kind of person is the most difficult to control and also the most terrifying. A man without desires would be strong. But fortunately, he has a grateful heart and has his own persistence. I especially appreciate what he said. As a person of Eastern Xian region, he should do his best for Eastern Xian region. I believe that in the future he will also say that he is a person of Tianji Tower and will do his best for Tianji Tower, Yin Shui said. Yes, in the face of the pressure from the two of us, he can still persevere. It's very rare. Amazing. Lan Yuxuan said with some emotion. That's it. The supervisor is relieved, Yin Shui said. Chief Protector Silver Snow, I will return to the headquarters directly. Night Sorrow will definitely pass the 3-star assessment. In the future he will be treated as a 3-star. We can't let other forces carry out the dragon-slaying plan. The Source Stone is important to Tianji Tower, but he is even more important. Our Tianji Tower is based on people, Lan Yuxuan said. I understand. Yin Shui nodded. Soon after, Lan Yuxuan left. She had come to the Eastern Xian region to examine Night Sorrow's qualifications and also to deal with the matter of the Water Origin Stone. Now she had to return. Night Sorrow returned to the Dragon Spring courtyard. How was it? Sikong Chiyu asked when he saw Night Sorrow return. There were no problems. It went very smoothly. They didn't force me to do anything, Night Sorrow said. He admired Tianji Tower's style. That's good. Sikong Chiyu nodded. After hearing Night Sorrow's answer, she and Yang Lei were relieved. I plan to go to the Far East Icefield to fulfill my promise. Night Sorrow said his decision. Let me accompany you to the Far East Icefield. Yang Lei said. No need. It will take a longer time this time. After all, I'm borrowing it. I have to wait for it to be used back. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. It will take a long time, a long time. You can't go for the time being. Sikong Chiyu pondered for a moment and said. Why? Night Sorrow asked puzzledly. Because in the Tianji Tower's celestial assessment, you have to prove your ability in the shortest time possible and enter the Severed Spirit stage as soon as possible. That way your celestial assessment level will increase. You will be in the Far East Icefield for at least half a year. Even if you break through to the Severed Spirit stage as soon as you enter, your qualifications will be delayed and reduced. Sikong Chiyu said. In addition, your strength has increased. It will be safer in the Far East Icefield. Yang Lei agreed with Sikong Chiyu's proposal. I'll listen to you. I'll go to Danding Cliff to consolidate my cultivation. If there's a suitable opportunity, I'll break through. Night Sorrow said. Okay, but you have to be confident before you break through. Don't be like your 11th senior brother who pursues the peak of the core condensation stage. In fact, when he entered the core condensation stage, a flaw appeared in his core pearl, so it took him a long time to consolidate it. Yang Lei said. I know. Then I'll go to Danding Cliff in the afternoon. Night Sorrow said. After staying with Sikong Chiyu and Yang Lei for a while, Night Sorrow rode the Qianyu and left. After arriving at Danding Peak and greeting Elder Su, Night Sorrow began to climb the cliff under Elder Su's surprised gaze. Soon, Night Sorrow climbed to a height of 5,800 meters. After recovering, Night Sorrow rushed to 5,900 meters. After entering the peak of the core condensation stage and the 6th level of the myriad Tao Tome, Night Sorrow's strength increased greatly. At 5,900 meters, Night Sorrow's energy had just been depleted. Staying at an altitude of 5,900 meters, Night Sorrow began to recover his cultivation. New fastest up $2.3 at this time, other people came to Danding Cliff to cultivate. When they saw Night Sorrow cultivating at 5,900 meters, they were shocked. Night Sorrow had already surpassed the record by 500 meters. This was simply unimaginable. Night Sorrow stayed on the 5,900-meter platform and did not move. After continuously consolidating his cultivation for half a month, Night Sorrow felt that it was really difficult to improve. Looking at the 6,000-meter platform, he got up and continued to climb. This time, Night Sorrow was under a lot of pressure because the last 100 meters of every stage was the most stressful. When there were only 20 meters left, Night Sorrow's true energy and the myriad Tao scriptures energy were depleted. He relied on his own body to continue climbing. When there were only 10 meters left, he used the profound jade spiritual energy to rush to the 6,000-meter tall platform. Recovering his cultivation on the 6,000-meter platform, Night Sorrow planned to cultivate here and break through here. Night Sorrow felt that breaking through would be very difficult, but he already had the strength to break through. There was no point in stubbornly holding on. After cultivating for half a day, the sky darkened. Night Sorrow stood up and looked at Danding Cliff. He drank a jar of wine and made a decision. Night Sorrow remembered Xianghu's words. Walk your own path and don't care about what others say. Because everyone's path is different. If you feel that it's suitable, then break through. If others stay at this stage, what does it have to do with you? Core condensation stage. To enter the spirit severing stage, one had to compress all the chi in the dantian into the dan bead and strengthen the dan bead a second time. If not, then it would be a failure and cause the dan bead to crack. After Night Sorrow stabilized his chi, he began to compress his chi into the dan bead. At this time, it depended on the sturdiness of the foundation and the density of the chi. If the foundation was weak and the cultivation was forcefully increased by eating pills, then the control of the chi in the dantian would be poor. It would be difficult to compress the chi into the dan bead. Similarly, if the density of the chi was not enough and was very weak, then the space in the dan bead would not be able to contain the weak chi. If one could not compress all the chi, then it would still end in failure. Chapter 299. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Following the compression, the true chi in Night Sorrow's dantian became less and less, and the dantian became more and more crystal clear. Night Sorrow did not dare to go too far for fear of damaging the pill. After a true chi cultivator enters the core condensation stage, the core is the foundation. Once there is a problem with the core, it will lead to the destruction of the foundation. At the crucial moment, Night Sorrow was very steady. He carefully compressed the true chi in his dantian into the dan bead. The true chi that entered the dan bead directly solidified and became a part of the dan bead. This was also a slow process. One night passed and Night Sorrow was still trying to break through. This was his miscalculation. He had thought that he would be able to break through in a few hours, but in reality, it was still too slow. As the sun rose, more people arrived at Danding Peak. There were also some who reached the 6,000-meter platform. Those who were able to reach the 6 kilometers platform were all late 4th order cultivators. The ones who came were Crepe Myrtle's Tang Xianxian and 9 Peak's Chu Ling Xiao. They also wanted to cultivate. When they saw Night Sorrow sitting cross-legged on the platform, they looked at each other and knew what was going on. The two of them stood on the 6,000-meter platform to guard Night Sorrow. Time slipped away little by little. In the afternoon, Night Sorrow compressed the last trace of true chi in his dantian into his dan bead. With the disappearance of the last trace of true chi, Night Sorrow's aura changed from core condensation to severed soul stage. Love gone little say exhaling a mouthful of turbid air, Night Sorrow opened his eyes. Seeing Tang Xianxian and Chu Ling Xiao, Night Sorrow froze for a moment before understanding what was going on. He quickly stood up and said, "Many thanks Senior Brother Chu and Senior Sister Tang for helping Night Sorrow." "You're welcome. You're too rash." Tang Xianxian reprimanded Night Sorrow. "Night Sorrow is in a good mood right now, so don't be discouraged. Focus on stabilizing your cultivation." Chu Ling Xiao nodded to Night Sorrow and continued climbing. Tang Xianxian smiled at Night Sorrow and continued. 6 kilometers was not her limit. Night Sorrow's cultivation had just advanced and was not suitable for high-intensity cultivation. He did not continue to climb up. Instead, he returned to the 5,900-meter position to stabilize his cultivation. After staying at 5,900 meters for 2 days, he felt that his cultivation had stabilized. Night Sorrow released Xianyu, then flashed to Xianyu's back and landed on the ground. You rascal, this is a heaven-defying rhythm. I have nothing else to say to you. You're always on tenterhooks. Elder Su's eyes were filled with joy and helplessness. He had always emphasized that Night Sorrow should strive for stability, but Night Sorrow's cultivation was soaring. Thank you for your concern, Elder. I might not be coming back for a while. Night Sorrow bowed to Elder Su and climbed onto Xianyu's back, heading straight for Danding Peak. After his last breakthrough, Night Sorrow did not visit Jianghu. This time he was going to visit him before heading to the Far East Icefield. Night Sorrow did not intend to tell Jianghu about going to the Far East Icefield. He did not want Jianghu to worry. In the Danding Hall, Night Sorrow saw Jianghu, the Great Elder, and a few other elders. The matter of the alternate dimension was now a hot topic. Everyone knew that the Medicine Valley had benefited greatly. The Scarlet Cloud sect had even issued a kill order for Night Sorrow. Therefore, the higher-ups of the Medicine Valley were discussing this issue. Seeing Yi Shang enter and then looking at his cultivation, everyone was shocked. The Grand Elder even stood up. Disciple greets Master and Elders. Night Sorrow bowed and said, *Forever free or read T-Novel K, Spirit Severing Stage. What's wrong with you? Xianhu's eyes were full of surprise. Love Gong Little say, network. Following that, the other elders also began to discuss. Some praised Yi Shang while others reprimanded him. Those who reprimanded him were those who felt that Yi Shang was too reckless. 13. Why did you come to see Master? Yu Yangyu didn't care about the other elders' discussion. He looked at Night Sorrow and asked. His eyes were full of praise because he could see that Night Sorrow's cultivation was very smooth. There was no problem with his foundation being unstable. Disciple has broken through. I came to report to Master. In addition, Disciple wants to go out and have a look. Night Sorrow said. No, you can't go out now. Before Yu Yangyu could speak, Xianhu stared and said. Tell me your reason. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I just want to go out and have a look, increase my field of vision and practice my combat ability. Night Sorrow said. Okay, safety first. Don't cause trouble and don't be afraid of trouble. Yu Yangyu nodded. Yu Yangyu nodded, and the other elders didn't say anything. Master, this is Disciple's filial piety. Master, please take care of yourself. Night Sorrow stepped forward and handed a bottle of spiritual liquid of origin to Yu Yangyu with both hands. Then he cupped his hands at the other elders and left the alchemy cauldron hall. Seeing Night Sorrow leave with Xianhu was a little anxious. Valley Master, how can you let him go out? The Scarlet Cloud sect has already issued a kill order. It's fine. I won't hide it from you elders. 13 has a certain status in Tianji Tower. A kill order? It won't be long before the Scarlet Cloud sect takes it back. As for a same-level battle, it's a training for him. Yu Yangyu said. Xianhu and the others didn't say anything because Yu Yangyu's words made sense. Yu Yangyu didn't look at what was in the jade bottle and directly explain the current situation. The Medicine Valley needed stability, but no one could be arrogant in the Medicine Valley. As long as someone came, they would be killed. When Night Sorrow returned to Alchemy City, he went directly to Tianji Tower to show off his cultivation. This was a helpless choice, but the reality required him to do so. Seeing that Night Sorrow had entered the Severed Soul stage, Enforcer Dong was very surprised. He didn't expect Night Sorrow to cultivate so quickly. The first time he saw Night Sorrow was 1.5 years ago. At that time, Night Sorrow was a little guy at stage 1 Shi refinement. But now, Yi Shiwen was already at the Severed Soul stage, the same cultivation level as him. This was unacceptable. After Night Sorrow left, Enforcer Dong hurriedly wrote a letter. He had to inform the headquarters of such an important matter as soon as possible. He knew that this news would attract the attention of the headquarters. When Night Sorrow returned to the Longquan courtyard, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were very happy and personally prepared food for Night Sorrow. This was a big event worth celebrating. In addition, they also knew that Night Sorrow might set off later. After stabilizing his cultivation level in the Longquan courtyard for 2 days, Night Sorrow set off. He had to go to the Eastern Icefield. In addition, he was also working hard on the cultivation resources for the consolidation realm of the Myriad Dao Tome. A person without foresight was bound to have immediate worries. Although he hadn't yet entered the 7th level of bone forging, he still needed to prepare early. While Night Sorrow and the others were celebrating, an uninvited guest came to the headquarters of the Red Cloud sect, Seaheart Island. The uninvited guest went directly to the lonely mountain behind the island. Not long after the masked man in black arrived, two white-haired old men appeared. "Who are you?"